Yes, good evening. Welcome back to TSHOW TV. I mean, Football Heritage TV. What I meant to say was my football club, your football club, our football club is an absolute toilet right now. What a terrible state of affairs we are in. We're going to get into it. I'd love to be positive. I'd love to be upbeat. I'd love to give you some good news. But I am going to fight and debate anybody that tries to put a positive spin on what the hell is going on at this club. Welcome to Lubo, to Danny, to Luke, and to Chris. Guys, I'm not going to do the thing where we go round and ask if you're all well. It's pointless. Everyone just says yes. And then we end up 5 minutes into the show and we've not really done anything. I'll ask it this way. Has anyone got any issues in their life they'd like to air publicly on YouTube?
Life's going all right at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Good. Well,
Lionesses won the Euros, didn't they?
They did win the Euros. Well done to the England women. I thought they were absolutely awful, by the way, but dug in. There you go. That's what I'm going to. They dug in. Well done to them.
Ellie will be happy today, won't she?
Ellie will be very happy. Well done to the England women. Well done, Serena Wiegman. 3 Euros in a row she's won. 3 Euros in a row. Maybe she should manage the men's team. Guys, I'll be honest, I don't even know where to begin. There is so much wrong with this club right now. Let me start at the beginning. Guys, we won the Europa League. We've got Champions League football by hook or by crook after having the worst ever Premier League season we've ever had. And you're thinking, oh, well, that was lucky, wasn't it, Daniel? Levy, by the way. That was lucky. Go on. Get out of jail free card. Play it. Go and buy some really good footballers. And we're all going to forget about that season. And it's been as bad as I can ever remember it. Who would like to start? And what the F is going on in this transfer window?
I'm happy to start.
I don't think it'll be any different, mate. I've got to be honest. When we were in the final, I didn't believe that for a second. We've never behaved differently when we've qualified for the Champions League. I didn't think it'd be any different this time. And here we are. The only thing we thought was for 24 hours, everyone lost their head about it's completely different. We've got investment, blah, 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 blah. It's all different now. 2 weeks later, we're back to losing our heads. But this is what it's always been, right? So it's no surprise to me.
Isn't losing our heads just a normal... Isn't it? It's not called losing your heads at Spurs. Isn't that just normal behaviour? Like just this is our state. This is our state of zen. Is losing our minds because we hate what's going on. Luke.
No,
sorry. Luke, I think Luke was going in. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that we've still got a few days till the end of the window. All
the big signings are coming in, Luke. They're just waiting to be signed off.
I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. I just literally said just before we came on, like, what would have happened if we didn't win the Europa League? Like, where would we currently be right now? Because this is the good side. This is the Champions League transfer window.
I don't think it'd be any different though. We always sign one decent player, right? I don't think it'd be any different.
Yeah. Oh, let me ask Dan. I mean, it is funny, right? I know it's kind of like, I know this is like kind of sadistic, but it is hilarious at the same time as being frustrating, right? This is just Spurs.
It's like I say, same Spurs, different day. I think most of us thought for a moment or two that maybe something had changed, or different person had taken charge, or it looks like we've got money put into us or whatever else. I just wonder, was actually getting in the Champions League and winning that cup, did it actually do us any favours? Or is that actually something that's held us back? I mean, I've got to think, if this is the positive side of it, wow, what could the negative side have been? I'm just starting to think that maybe if we hadn't won that cup and basically put the wallpaper over the cracks on the wall, would the club have felt like it has to do something? Whereas now it sort of like seems to be looking like, well, we're in the Champions League, we get a player or two, pardon me, and we just roll with the Champions League. I mean, you got to admit, Spurs fans are easily satisfied, very easily satisfied. And would it have actually been better to lose that cup and they would have had to do something? I don't know. But it's definitely making me think like that. It's definitely making me look on the other side. Did winning this cup actually do us any favours?
Well, let me ask Lupo. In all the times, if I'm not wrong, somebody will tell me if I'm wrong. I think this is the 7th or 8th time we've qualified for the Champions League, if I'm not wrong. Might be wrong. In all the champions, have I given us too much praise there? I'm pretty sure we've finished.
Harry took us in. Harry qualified twice, but only
got once, right?
Poch winning 4 times.
For Conte 1. Okay, so this is the 7th.
This is the 7th. I think Conte won, and now.
So of the 7 times we got into the Champions League, have we ever had a good window in that summer?
Never. When you started off the show by saying let's go back to the beginning, I thought you were going to say when Enid took over. Because I
wasn't going to go back to 2001 and have a potted history.
No, but nothing's changed. So nothing has changed. This club is run. I keep saying the same thing. I'm bored. This club is run differently to any other club. It's not run like a proper football club, like all the other clubs are. They're just there to make a profit. They'll walk away with a massive profit. And what are we talking about? What are we talking about all the time? Underachievement, isn't it? It's what we're talking about the whole time.
Yep.
Whether it's a transfer window, whether it's a Premier League campaign, whether it's losing to bad clubs, lower clubs in the cups. It's thank God we won the Europa. Thank God we had a little bit of joy in this miserable life of being a Spurs fan.
Mm. Well, look, let's have a look at a few things, shall we? First and foremost, big up to Sean for the raid. Sean, now firmly my favourite ITK. He's as accurate as the rest of the ITK. So, guys, let's have a look. And yes, everybody asking me in the chat, have I seen the Kinski news? I have. We'll talk about it in a bit. I don't know how true it is. Who knows? We will talk about the Kinski noise that's going around in the last 20 minutes that he might be going to Lille on loan, which would mean either Austin or Gunter would end up being our number 2. I mean, this is just getting better and better by the day. Guys, let's have a look. We go on pre-season. They're flying now, right? They're on the plane right now. I hope they're watching. If you've got Wi-Fi up there, Spurs, and you're watching this, please take note from how upset we are.
Like and subscribe.
If all the Spurs squad could like and subscribe, I'll get an extra 29 subscribers. Guys, this is the squad. I'm about to bring it up, and I'm going to do it in 2 ways. And there's a reason for this, right? Chris CC, you'll know this because we're in that. You and I just had this chat, but this is the squad, right? This is the squad. Let me remove the banner. This is the squad in all its glory. Abbott, Austin, Bentancur, Bergvall, Basuma, Byfield, Danso, Davis, Donnelly, Gray, Gunter, Johnson, Kinski, Kudus, Lancashire, Madison, Odeber, Porro, Richarlison, Romero, Sarr, Solanke, Hongmin Son, Spence, Tell, Van der Ven, Vicario, Vuskovic, and Hyuk, Yang Min Hyuk. Now, I'm going to show you in a way which truly reflects just how shit this transfer window has been. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready for this? This is the squad broken down by positions on the pitch. Look at the state of this. It is 2025. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, welcome to 2025. Spurs are going on pre-season tour, and Ben Davies is the only recognised. I'm going to say, hang on, I'm going to see if I can pop myself there. No, there. No, there. There. Ben Davies is the only recognised left-back in the entire squad, bearing in mind he's played centre-half the last few years, right? Our strikers are Solanke, Richarlison and Lancashire, right? We've got an injured James Maddison and a kid who's just been on loan at Leyton Orient as our only attacking midfielders. 3 of our 6 midfielders are children in Bergvall, Gray, and Abbott. Right? And the goalkeepers. Look, guys, somebody take over from me before I explode. What are we doing?
Let's start with the positives.
Go on.
And now let's move on to the negatives.
Yeah.
First three lines are fine. First 3 lines are okay. For me, that's fine. Top 3. Madison's been back in training for a week, which is why obviously he wasn't ready or wasn't risked yesterday. So, maybe he'll be fit for the Newcastle game. Maddison and Donnelly, for me, I want to see Donnelly shadowing Maddison this season. I think Donnelly he's bulked up. He's he's strong on the ball. He's physical. I think he'll be fine as a 10 after Maddison. But unfortunately, the rest, we're short. We're very, very short. We really are. So,
I mean, let's be fair. Donnelly, we can talk about him shadowing Maddison, but let's be fair. When Kulusevski's back,
yes, he'll be there. He'll be there as well.
Chris, let me come to you. I mean, if I turn around to you a few years back and said, this is our Champions League squad for 25-26, you'd laugh at me, wouldn't you? Look at the state of it.
You've got to laugh. We're Spurs fans. If you haven't got a sense of humour, you are doomed as a Tottenham fan, aren't you? I don't really know massively what to say about it. There's huge pressure on them in the next few weeks, I think, though, with what they came out and said. I don't think these are stupid guys. So that surely they know that when they're saying they've got ambitions to win the Premier League and Champions League, that solidifies the expectation amongst the fan base. We've now just embarrassed ourselves with the Gibbs-White situation. So, yeah, I think there's massive pressure on them. But I did say this to you earlier in our chat, Savva. There's massive pressure on them to do something in the next few weeks. However, I don't really see the consequence for the owners if they just put their feet up and go, this is it. This is our Champions League squad. Go enjoy yourselves. I think there's pressure on them and that the fan base will be very unhappy and there'll be lots of people change for Tottenham. I don't know if they're claiming the falling through of the Gibbs-White transfer. They seem to
claim everything else, don't they?
So, but it'll probably reinvigorate numbers there. I mean, we can get onto that chat later. But ultimately, I don't really know massively. So what? This is like Dan says. It's just it's the same old, right? It's the same old stuff. So
from this squad, though, guys, the only one going that wasn't in the squad last season, the only one, and I'm not talking about Donnelly, who was a kid on loan, is Kudus. Kudus is the only player going on pre-season tour that wasn't at Tottenham Hotspur last season. Let that sink in.
The mad thing about this is you look at that team, there is not one player there, in my opinion, that gets into any of the top 4 teams. The only one who stands a chance getting in the top 5 teams is maybe Romero could push his way into Chelsea. Maybe. Oh. Apart from that, there is not one player there that gets into them top 4 teams. And there's probably one player there, maybe 2 players there who could make a subs bench. And that's Maddison and Romero. And even them 2, they'd be lucky if they start on the subs bench with Liverpool.
For me, Vicario is one of the top 5 keepers.
But he still ain't getting into the top 4.
I think you're mad, Lubo. I think Vicario is shite.
Vicario is Vicario.
He's better than Sanchez at Chelsea, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he might be better than Sanchez, but that ain't sound a lot.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna back you on this, Dan. I mean, let me move that squad away for a second. I'm gonna back you on this, Dan. No, not that one. That one. Yeah, I've been watching Vicario for 2 years now. This guy can't command his box. He is dreadful at commanding his box at corners, set pieces. He's terrible with his feet. I think we keep Lubo, you're shaking your head. He is.
I'm shaking my head. Up to when he got injured, his pass rate was 93% last year.
Oh no, but that's not what it means. Being good with your feet. That's not what it means, Lubo. That's not what it means. Watch him when the ball goes to his feet.
What do you want him to do as a goalkeeper? He saves shots. is one of the best shot stoppers in the division. Forget we got 10 players to play with their feet. I'm sorry, I'm not in this old school. I'm not in this new school way of having.
You might not be, but the rest of the world is, Lupo. You might not be, but the rest. Lupo,
right.
Sorry. I don't know. We're going to go on a right tangent here with Vicario. Look, Lupo, I'm sorry.
Who's much better with his feet, but can't save a shot to save his life.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you're going from one extreme to the other, aren't you? Listen, Vicario's a good shot stopper, right? That's
Very
it for
good.
me.
Brilliant,
He is. Yep. Sure, Lupo, but he's dreadful at commanding his box. Every corner and set piece that came in yesterday at Luton in that first half, he flaps. He can't command. Kinski can.
There was one cross he took out that he made his. Ball went right away across. He followed it through, took it out.
One cross. I mean, amazing.
Do you know what's mad about him,
you're in denial. You're in denial, mate.
You hear him.
For most of that first half, yesterday, he could have sat down and made himself a cup of tea.
Sure, but then when they did have free kicks and corners,
dropped it.
The problem with him is he spreads panic throughout the team. Look at what happened in Bilbao and why Solanke's back trying to defend. Why then it's all a mess because no one's got any confidence in him. And I can't be having a keeper like that. I don't think to use a Sean Butlerism.
The other thing is with him,
the juice isn't worth the squeeze, man.
He's got more communication with the team and louder when it's up the other end of the pitch. But as soon as it seems to get into the box, he shuts up. No control, no communication. Yet when they're on the halfway line or something, he's probably the loudest person on the pitch.
He gave them all a bollocking. There was a header that came over the bar in the first half. That Luton had a free header from a corner. And he bollocked the Romero, not Romero.
Right, but when the ball is in the box, when it's actually the time, fine. Afterwards and after the goal's gone in or after it's gone wide, fine. But you need communication while the ball is in the box and it's in play. Yeah, as soon as it gets into that box, he shuts up. He shuts up.
I don't even think it's the talking. For me, it's just every time a cross comes in from a corner and that, I just think it's panic because he can't command. Listen, as I said, he's a good. Listen, for me, Vicario's a decent goalkeeper. No more, no less. I've not looked at him, and I don't put him anywhere near with the list of goalkeepers we've had in the Premier League. This guy's nowhere near the top 2 or 3 for me. I think he's average. He's a good shot stopper. The rest of his game is average, right?
I'd have Neil Sullivan, Casey Keller. I'd have them before this guy without any.
I think they were all round goalkeepers. But to Dan's point, yeah, if you look at that top 4, other than Chelsea, he's not getting in City. He's not getting in Liverpool. No. For me, he doesn't get in above Raya at Arsenal.
He doesn't get on the bench at Liverpool. They've got Mamardashvili, haven't they? Yeah,
Mamardashvili as well. Yeah. Look, but the point of putting that up and what Dan was saying was right? You look at that squad and you just go, there is an absolute lack of quality there. And you think, okay, Kudus, good. That's upskilling. We need 3 to 4 more Kudus level players to start balancing this squad out, right? Is essentially why I brought that list up. Yeah. Because who's not going that makes a difference? Udogie, who's injured.
Kulu.
A lot.
Kulu is injured, but right, Udogie, Kulu.
Dragusin.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he doesn't get in the first 11, but sure, yeah, Dragusin.
But they're not the Kudus level players we're talking about, right? They're just fillers for the squad, really.
Right. But this is what I'm talking about. So, just for anyone at home, just so you know, Devine, Scarlett, and Moore were left at home because they've been told to find loans. We'll talk about that later because, again, it's just Devine and Scarlett. How we are not selling these is anyway. So, guys, talk to me. That squad, that's our pre-season squad. Is this the weakest Spurs have been for decades? I'm going to put it out there. Just the weakest squad we've had for decades.
No,
I wouldn't say it's the worst I've seen.
I think it's up there because I think that. Between the first 11, I think we have, and I've been saying this for ages, we've signed so many squad players that we've got a squad, but we haven't got a first 11. Like, for instance, if you go back to just Pochettino's 11, there's an argument that none 11, of the players get in it. Like, But exactly. But it's almost like where do you go? I'm sick and tired of buying a rotation or a squad player. Go and sign first 11s. But I think it was Ian who said it initially that the top 3 lines, I'm okay with. If you was picking out a squad, the top 3 lines you're okay. All of the others, you go from left back. That's not good enough. That midfield is not good enough. That Donnelly's yet to be able to. That's not good enough. The wing options are not good enough, and those so.
Agreed.
That's where you're at straight away. You're just like, well, none of these lines are good enough. So therefore,
so basically, goalkeeper, right back, and centre half, we're okay.
Yeah, we've got rough coverage there. And if a player gets injured, you've got someone who can come in and do a job. But if you was to put your first players, the team that you select on the left hand side, and one of them get injured, your second option is poor.
That centre mid there, that midfield there is dangerous, and I mean in the wrong way. That midfield there is not sustainable. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, Bergvall, Gray, Abbott. Yeah, I mean, Gray had about 3 games in centre mid, and you're telling me that that's going to be Champions League material? There is no control in that midfield whatsoever.
Worrying.
That is why I'm saying. When I've said it, the first 2 things we need to sort out is that bloody midfield before we even look at a winger and striker.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I think that's been everyone's target. No, even under Ange, it was a destroyer 6. And I kept saying when Ange was here, I was like, the problems when Ange goes, we've still got all of the same problems. The wingers are still not good enough. We don't have the coverage at fullback. We need a midfielder that can dominate and be defensive, and we still need all of those things. We've got Kudos.
Luke, I think you can play Van der Ven at left back.
That's where he started playing.
I personally think it's more likely that Gray goes right back. I think Gray's more likely to cover right back and Spence covers left back.
Yeah. But isn't that worrying, lads? Isn't this worrying? Like again, you look at all summer. If we take Chelsea, City, Liverpool, and Arsenal, and you have to look at them as the benchmark because they are the fellow Champions League clubs, right? You look at them and everyone's going, oh God, Arsenal need a DM. Boom, done. Arsenal need a striker. Done. Arsenal need another winger. Done. Arsenal need a sub-keeper. Done. Chelsea, boom, 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 boom. City, boom, 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 boom. Right? Liverpool, everything they need. We're going, oh, could Van der Ven go left back? Oh, could Spence go left back? Oh, we could drop Gray to right. How embarrassing is that we're looking at these people going, don't worry that we've not sorted out what we need. We can just take these people who don't play in those positions and shove them in there. This is not the actions of a Champions League football club. This is the actions. This is the actions for me of a club that I don't know, have just been promoted. I'm trying not to get angry. I'm so frustrated at how this has been.
You're not seeing any improvement in the team as such. Now, in one aspect for me, like I've said before, the one easy job Thomas Frank has got, where he can save us quite a few points next season, is sort that defence out. And for me, that's an easy job. Don't invert the wing backs and don't have the bloody centre back sitting on the halfway line. I think we can see 25 less goals. Maybe 5 too many, whatever, but I think that's a big problem sorted out. And you can see easily another 20, 25 points at the season as long as he sorts that out. And I don't even think that job's actually that hard to sort out. Relatively easy compared to the rest. That midfield is an utter shambles in any sort of control. Maybe if you just get one player in there to go with one of the other players we got, you can make something happen with that. But what we have got there is no domination in that midfield whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then up front, we're going to still have to see how Kudus delivers, but it looks like a good buy at the moment. But in due time, we will tell. The main thing is he sorts that defence out, just puts them in the right place. It sorts out a big problem. But the rest of it, that is not going to be an easy job. He can make us more difficult to beat. He can make us harder to beat. But I do agree with a manager can work with what he's got with to an extent. And like I said, I kept saying with Ange, if he would just sort the defence out and drop it back, that's half his problem sorted.
Isn't it?
You can see that from the friendlies, right? You can see
the friendlies we looked more stable.
Straight away, you can see that the fullbacks aren't The fullbacks are actually fullbacking. The centre-backs aren't actually playing on the halfway line. And we look more organised. You can see that. Problem is, we haven't got anything going the other way. With Maddison and Kulu out injured, we've got nothing creative-wise. Son has died a death as far as being a top Premier League footballer goes. He is gone. I don't care what anyone says. Odegaard is as bang average as you like. Another wasted signing, Odegaard. Tell, for me, pointless signing. Lancashire's not good enough. Scarlett's not good enough. Richie is awful.
We've got a squad, though, that we've built over the last few years, something that frustrates me, on the basis of, how often do you see this, that Spurs want someone who's versatile, who can play multiple positions? We need someone who has got great work rate. We need someone who's got great pace. Like, can we not just sign some players who've got good ability in the position that we need? But we never seem to do that. So we've built up a squad of players who are kind of jacks of, I'm not even very good jacks of all trades, right? But absolutely masters of none. I'd rather see us have a bit more ambition and go out and say, we need a defensive midfielder. Let's not go out and try and buy a midfielder who could do a bit of that, but could also play an 8 and maybe play a 10 and put him at right back if we need him. Just go out and get a bloody good player in that position and worry about the rest. Some of our players like Solanke, when we signed him, what's his best attribute? His work rate. Well, that tells me he ain't very bloody good in the position that you've signed him for, right? Could just sign some players for the positions we need. I get you do need, of course, you need players who do have flexibility, but we've got we've gone the other way. We've got too many of them now, and you just end up with these Odegaards and Tells who I think are crap in a lot of positions.
Well, the problem you got goes back to, and I split the transfer window 2 years ago in half, from when Ange joined. Because from when he started July the 1st, 2023, he's brought in 18 players plus Werner twice on loan, and only 4 of them actually came straight in and started in the first team. The rest of them were all squad. Now, Bergvall's pushed himself through last season. Odegaard, to an extent, did as well, where when he was fit, he was playing as many games, he was starting as many games as Johnson. But other than that, all squad players, and that's the problem. Yes. That's the problem. The drop-off is too big. The drop-off's too big between your first 11, 12, 13 and the rest. And
can I completely disagree? What drop-off? I'm sorry, Lou, but what drop-off? What, the drop-off from Solanke to Richarlison? They're both crap. The drop-off from Tell to Son to Hill to Solomon. The drop-off from Odegaard to Johnson. What drop-off?
Well, Odegaard and Johnson, there's not much of a drop-off there, is there? There aren't drop-offs. The quality is just not good enough.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's my point. I know Marlon's laughing. This is, by the way, this is all Marlon's fault. Everything is Marlon's fault.
No. I told you, lot, when Gordon was a couple of weeks ago, I said nothing has changed at the club. And you all came for me and said, when do we do this? And look, back to square one. So I'm just going to sit here and go, all right. All right,
you also said that there's zero chance that we get Thomas Frank. You said
I give you that one. Yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
That's what I thought, Marlon. That's what I thought. Let's not do the tit for tat game, eh?
No, I'm just going by latest. Not what I said 2-3 months ago.
Whoever got something wrong, the most recent is in the month.
Yeah, right? That's how it works.
Marlon, welcome.
Definitely Sean Butler in that case.
Yeah. Marlon, look, we were just looking at this squad broken down by position. I mean, this is what our board, our director of football, Vinay and Levy, think is good enough going into a Champions League season with our first game. PSG game is what, 17 days away, if I'm not wrong?
17 days.
Yeah.
Marlon, what are you saying? Look at this. What are we saying?
If it wasn't for Kudos, everyone else is just bang average. And that was proven yesterday. And we've always said, last season, we all said our front three was not good enough. Now it's being highlighted because you haven't got the chaotic football advantage now. You can clearly see that it just doesn't work. And without a recognised striker yesterday, we are completely screwed. Even when you look at the Wickham game with Richarlison up front, it was just poor, so poor. And I made you right on something because I was listening to you earlier, Savva, about Sarr. He's good at getting into the box, and that's what I like about him. But actually, when you think about when he's on the ball, that's where he wastes it, most of it. And that's
so his actual day job, he's not very good at. The actual central midfield area, he's not very good at, right?
He's another one whose best attribute is nothing to do with football. It's just that he runs around a lot, right?
He should do athletics.
He makes some great life. If you go and look at the highlights of the Europa League, he's involved in actually most of the goals. Actually, when you look at it from the group stage, but if you actually go and watch his actual highlights of him being on the ball and stuff, and this is where I did agree. That's why I agreed a lot with Savva when he said about Sarr, is that he doesn't do anything actually on the ball. It's more his late runs into the box. He's passing when he gets into just these late runs and what he does, and that's what he's really good at. But it's just not currently what we need in that midfield position.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, guys, look, let's we'll get to the transfer window shortly. I want to look at the two friendlies yesterday and the fan base absolutely going into meltdown. Which I think we touched upon last night. I genuinely don't think I've ever seen such a meltdown over two meaningless preseason games with such mix and match teams. People right to worry with what they saw, or are we completely losing our heads over two preseason friendlies in the same day where we saw 41 different footballers? 41.
Some losing the plot because they're Spurs fans and it's what happens. Some losing the plot because we haven't bought no one, and others losing the plot because they specifically want to lose the plot because they've got a point to prove.
Hang on, Dan. Hang on. Can you clarify? I think I know what you mean. Could you clarify what you mean by that last point? What fans are losing the plot because they want to lose the plot because they've got a point? What are we talking about?
Because we're talking about the ones that are saying Ange should have stayed and fight tooth and nail for it and whatever, and are now going to turn on literally every move that Frank's made because, again, we're one of the worst fan bases out there for trying to score the points. And okay, there's going to be the ones that wanted him to stay, but okay, we got a new manager, let's get on with it. But there's going to be a hell of a lot out there who specifically want to lose the plot to prove a point. And yesterday we didn't win two friendlies, even though neither team was. It was basically kids on both sides mixed with a couple of players and that. And after that, one of them was played at the bloody training ground, and people were already saying, "See, Ange was better than that. Sack Frank. Oh, this is what you've asked for, Frank." You're like, wow.
I think the people who lost the plot yesterday were the ones who were desperately hoping they could lose the plot if we don't win. And we didn't win, and they were just on it straight away.
I think there was all three sides of what I said personally. I think there was ones who are just, we haven't bought no one, whatever, and that, and are just losing the plot for it. I think there's other ones just panicking because we are Spurs at the end of the day. And I think there is also other ones, like I said, that want to lose the plot because they want to prove a point. And
it would have gone either way this year, though.
You've got other people like me. I vouch for myself on this one, not everyone else. I couldn't care less. It was a bloody friendly, and the first one at it, and one was at a training ground.
I think it would have gone either way I think it would have gone either way this season, because if Ange would have stayed, you'd have had a section of the fan base saying, regardless of what happens, this is all on him. And if he would have drawn these two games, you'd have had some sections doing that same thing. So I think that's just Spurs. There's no in between.
But he would have been, if he was still here, he would have been here 2 years. This manager's been here. This manager's been here 2 weeks.
We're talking about that squad that you just pulled up, and is it not two first team players signed in 24 months? Solanke, Kudos. They're the only two first team players.
Not 24 months. No, 12 months, not 24.
Sorry, yes, 18. Sorry, it's 18.
Also, isn't this a man that said he didn't want senior players, like he said over and over and over again?
I'm not debating the Ange. I'm saying that this is, when we're sitting here worrying and saying about this squad, I think there's a bit of a realization now that how bad this squad actually is, because a lot of people are saying everything is on Ange and everything else.
I don't think everything is on Ange. Listen, this squad is bad.
That's the point.
This squad is not 17th bad.
Yeah.
This squad is bad. And by the way, if at any point Frank has us 17th, I don't mean after one game. If at any point Thomas Frank has us 17th in the league, like after 20 games, yes, I will be very, very much going, what is going on here?
He never had Brentford in the bottom three in his whole Premier League
Nope,
career. So if he
not
has
once.
us in the bottom three, it would
I mean-
be typical Spurs.
That is why I say
Just
he
do
sorts
that
that
at
defence out. He sorts that defence out. It is a massive, massive problem sorted out. Even if he just keeps them back and keeps them with a straight line sort of thing, and depending what formation he uses and everything, it's just a bit of common sense what he's got to do with that defence, and that does sort out a massive problem in my opinion. But then all over the squad, look, if you just want to compare it to last season, the majority of it was down to Ange for the formation. For the way it was played, when you've got a 10 up front and he's got 5 people around him within like 6-7 foot of him all the time, what was he meant to do? When you've got a box-to-box attacking midfielder and he's making 80% of his mistakes in a defensive manner, tells you something. When you've got 2 overlapping wing backs that are both sitting as a number 10, blocking everything up and having to run diagonally across the pitch, it tells you something. When you've got 2 centre backs sitting on the halfway line, it tells you something. The majority of it was down to the formation. I don't think anyone has said this team is great, but for me, it's a top 8, squeeze a 7 sort of thing if it's played the right way. Like I've said before, you can get.
Is it? Are we a top 8 team? I'm looking at that, and I'm
the more transfers I'm
worried.
seeing, the more transfers I'm seeing, the more we're slipping. I'll give it that one. But last season, I think that team could have got 7th or 8th
I agree,
and won the cup. But the more transfers that are happening, we're starting to slip down that table a bit further. But that is not a 17th team.
Dan, it's the 4 teams plus United that have made significant buys, significant purchases this
Very
summer.
true.
None of the others have. Villa haven't. Newcastle haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're like 30 points above us. Like
No.
30 points above us.
Okay. All right. But that was an anomaly, wasn't it? That was down to the manager's system. So
I personally believe that, yeah.
You just said we're not a 17th team. That team should not have finished 30 points behind.
I agree.
So if you're looking at a proper coach who's going to bring us in, I agree with you, Dan. Defensively, if we play a proper system, you would think we would concede. Listen, we should be conceding far less goals. We'll be far less open, and the back 5 for me is, the defence is the strongest part of the team. So Frank's got some help there, that he's got some quality players at the back. But for me, we are missing this is a massive opportunity, and the whole momentum raised from Bilbao has just been lost. So nothing will change till we get new owners. I keep saying it. Unfortunately, that's the case. However good Frank will be, he won't be given all the tools he needs to do the job the way he wants to do it.
Is he going to be given any tools?
Sorry, is he going to?
Is he going to be given any tools? Because at least when Ange came in the first window, he was given Vicario, Van der Ven, Maddison, Brennan Johnson. He had a Dogi who had just come back from Udinese. Porro was basically brand new. We bought him in the January, but he hadn't really played. Now you've got Frank who's come in. It's like, there's Mohamed Kudus, go. It's just like, what are we doing here?
I know, but Luke was right. After that first window, when Ange came in, the following window we brought in Dragusin and Werner. Last summer, we just brought in Solanke and Bergwijn, who pushed his way through.
And great.
I
forgot about him.
Listen, he's not
sorry. I'm sorry.
Established himself, so I'm not mentioning him. For me, Odebear's not established himself. Yang obviously is a kid. So Bergwijn out of last summer's window, you had Solanke and then latterly Bergwijn, and then in the winter you had Kinski, which that's another subject. We didn't need him. Tell, I think, for me, Thompson looked much better. 17-year-old kid looked much better yesterday than Tell did, and was doing the sort of stuff that I want Tell to do. Danso was a good buy. Danso, but again, a squad player. When you got Romero and Van der Ven fit, if he plays 2 centre backs, Danso is on the bench. So
And that's what I'm
you know,
saying.
we've only it's hardly been strengthened. So you've had 3 players that have strengthened the first team in the last, including this window, in the last 4 windows.
But in Angie's first transfer, like in his first window, he had at least 5 players that walked into that started that squad.
Exactly.
Yes, he had 3.
Frank has got 1.
He had 3 that Pritchard brought in, and now Frank started, and 3.
Now does it show? Now does it show that maybe Ange did get backed in that first window anyway? Yeah, okay. As it went on, it started going downhill.
There's no argument. Yeah, there's no argument in the first window he got backed. We obviously
But
lost Kane.
A lot of people say he didn't get backed from day.
I think from the first window he got backed. We got a shed load of money for Kane, and then he was obviously given, but he was backed with what we needed at that time. But then ever since then, all of the money that's been spent has been spent on squad options. Like when people use the number that was spent, 400 million, if you was to look at like Liverpool's window and go, you spent 400 million on them players, then you go, that's backed. 400 million when you're spending 40 and 30s on 19-year-olds that are going to come in and be an option, and 90, it's backed in money wise, but I'm talking about recruitment and going
Correct.
For
100%.
Kudos, going for Morgan Gibbs-White.
Sure, but surely by that reckoning, then we at least need to give Frank 4 or 5 first team players in this window.
Yeah, 100%.
To give him a fighting chance.
100%. As I said, before when Ange was here, we needed a central midfielder, more so because of the tactics. It was a destroyer type Palinia. We needed cover at the fullback areas, left back, or depending on if you want to play Spence, left back or right back. We still needed a winger, at least one. We've got Kudos, and we probably needed a striker. And we still need all of them because that's where we're lacking in this squad. Need at least 3 or 4 more to come in.
Now, funny, I said Friday I was quite relaxed. I was quite relaxed regarding the transfer window, in the fact that the Gibbs-White thing was still bubbling, and I think all of us genuinely thought that Gibbs-White would end up signing for Spurs, and there were also strong links last week for Palinia. So I'm looking at it, and you've got Kudos. That's one. You needed the right winger. Tick. We're looking at a 6 now. That would be a tick. You're looking at Gibbs-White that would have upgraded the midfield. Tick. So for me, and there's still 5 weeks to go. With Gibbs-White, with everything that's come out now regarding Gibbs-White, and the fact that we've not gone for any other player in the last 19 days, I'm now having to reassess the way I felt on Friday, because now you're looking, instead of 1 through the door 3 weeks ago, another 2 bubbling. You think it's just, and there's still 5.5 weeks to go. You're looking at it thinking, I don't know, if they can screw up the Gibbs-White situation in style.
I mean, Ian, sorry, mate, go on.
No, I'm done.
At least, I mean, credit where it's due at the end of the day. At least it took you 24 to 48 hours to flip-flop over to the other side of, like, we might be up shit street. A lot of people, it only took them 98 minutes. So credit where it's due, mate.
Question though, I've got a question. Do you think we're having a bit of trouble getting rid of players off the books? Is the reason why the transfer window's been a bit? But is it?
I do think that has got something.
It's a Tottenham way of Savva. The reason why I'm asking the question is it's a very Tottenham way. It's not the way we all want it.
Other clubs go get the deals, like. But
that's other clubs. We're Tottenham Hotspur. This is the problem.
I know.
And I'd love.
This is why, for me, Lang has got to be sacked, right? Because
Villa didn't want him.
Other clubs, right? I can use the best example, which is Chelsea, but other clubs seem to be able to move on Deadwood. By hook or crook, they move on their Deadwood. We can't get rid of anyone, and no more so than Divine. Hang on. Divine and Scarlett have been left to find another loan. How old are Divine and Scarlett now that we're going to give them another loan? Sell them.
They'll be 22 before the start of next season. So
right, move them on, but we're going to loan them. You know what's going to happen? Someone like Brian Hill will probably get another loan with an option to. Right, if Lang can't do it, get somebody in who can.
He's the best example, Brian Hill, because We have not been able to shift players, and we've not been able to buy players before we shift them for such a long period. We had Eric Lamela at this football club, and we wanted shot of him so much. We gave him to Sevilla or whoever it was, and paid 25 million for Hill, and he stayed for so long that we now probably want to give him away so we can get someone else in.
But that tells you it's not. I don't want to start Lubo off, but I fear I might. That tells you it's not Lang, right?
No, I don't think it is.
Lang. We've always done it. And Dombele, Lascelso.
Our squad planning has been shocking for years. How have we not? We had Son there for 10 years. How have you not signed a youth player to come through and just learn off of this man? And soon as he starts dropping off, you bring him in and he starts taking over from Son.
We've signed about 10, but they're all shite. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's not right. It's like same thing with Kane.
We didn't sign one youth player. We signed about
George
same thing with Kane.
Kudu.
Look at Kane. After the fact, Angepostecoglou come out and said, we all knew he was going. Everybody at this club knew he was going. Well, why did it take you not only that summer, but another full year before you brought in Solanke, who nobody thinks is good enough anyway? This is just what this club does. The squad plan is just absolutely...
I think Richarlison was more Kane's replacement.
Comes down, once again, it comes down. Lamela was valued at 20. Gill was, and so it was 20 million plus Lamela. So it was a £40 million deal for Gill. I mean, you know, the guy is an extremely talented, skillful player, but he's not built. He's not good enough physically.
He's not made for the Premier League, is he?
How long?
He's an Italian, Spanish type player.
But Lugo, in his first game, how long did it take you to go? He's not Premier League. About 30 seconds. So why is it not? Why is the whole recruitment team not someone gone? I'm not so sure about him. You know, like this has been a problem for years.
There's never any planning. Look at Brighton, the way they do things. And I'd rather aspire to be Liverpool than Brighton, but you've got to take your hat off and respect the way Brighton run their football club. And they've
got to Chelsea.
They've got a successor lined up all the time. They're checking players. It's done so much better. But Tony Bloom knows what he's doing. Levy doesn't. Massive difference. As I keep saying,
Vinay's running it now.
Yeah, Vinay was running it.
Well, fair enough. Vinay obviously isn't doing such a great job either, is he?
Yeah. Do you know, Marlon, when we were signing Morgan Gibbs-White, right? Lubo was like, see, it's different with Vinay. And then when the deal fell through, he said, this is typical Levy.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I love Lubo. Lubo's my favourite. I love him.
Who's dealing with the deal?
No, listen, with the Gibbs-White thing, obviously something's gone very wrong. And
yeah.
And Lange is probably the person who's been involved there.
I don't want to go to Gibbs-White yet. We will talk about this, but I don't want to go there yet. But the point is, even if we put Gibbs-White to the side, Stanley! Sorry, I should have muted my mic before I did that. I'm so sorry. He's just annoying me. Do you know how many times a day I shout the word Stanley? It's amazing. Gibbs-White or no Gibbs-White? As Lubo said, that was 18, 19 days ago that we got the here we go, right? That was 18, 19 days ago. What the F of this football club been doing for nearly 3 weeks?
I think Marlon's right.
What have we been doing? What?
The other problem is the later we leave it, whichever club we buy from has got less time to replace that player.
Exactly. Which is why when people go, as long as we get them by the end of the window, the big clubs don't act like that for a reason.
It's the same in January.
Look at that
joke. In January.
But look at January. That joke last minute £70 million bid. If there was a bid put in
for Gray.
For Gay, I mean, what a joke!
Even before that, Lubo. Even before that, you go. Our centre backs were ruled out from the middle of November. We had 6 weeks to prepare. In the January window, we signed a centre back on February. Like, what is going on at this? Like, this is just what we do.
Luke, he saved $5 million because of that.
Yeah, I know. Great. That's what I'm saying. This is honestly, we're just a social experiment, Spurs. This is not. We're just a social experiment to see if people could just lose their minds over a football club. That's all we are.
Has Lang got to go?
shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Sure,
Yeah.
I get it, but
I
has Lang got to go? For me, I think. Listen, we can talk about our owners all we want, but for me, what players is Lang putting in front of the board? Because let's be fair, I don't think Daniel Levy, as much as we hate him, I don't think Daniel Levy is instructing his team. You know the player I really want, guys? I want some guy out in the J League called Takai, right? You know what I really want? There's a 19-year-old at Bayern Munich called Tell. I don't think Levy knows all that, right? That's from a director of football. Lang, for me, has done, we can all rave about Bergvall, right? What has he done from a senior pro perspective since he's joined here? It has been calamitous.
That's why when the whole reports were coming out about Paratici, I was like, if at the very best, this needs to be Paratici running up the senior team and Langer taking over the youth, and he looks after the youth. But go back to Tell, Langer sat down with him, showed him everything, said this is the project, and he was like, I'm all right. So you're getting someone in that can't sell. They can't sell it. They've not got that. I think from a youth perspective, I think he's okay. I think obviously most of the players he's targeted is youth anyway. I think from a youth perspective, he's okay, and that should be where he leads it. He leads it up on a scouting system for the youth players, but we need someone that's got experience, that's another level to come in and do all the top signings in my eyes.
The problem for me is that, of course, Levy doesn't mind you. Tell he probably asked who knows, maybe asked the question. You know, Bayern Munich owe us some money. What can we do to offset that? You know, the debts, etc., etc. But aside from that, it's his responsibility to bring in the top people that know what they're doing. That's where the blame falls on him, not for the guy's individual mistake in going after the wrong player. He's picked the wrong director of football. That's where he's to blame.
Does anyone get the feeling that if anything breaks in Lubo's house, you know, like a washing machine, a shower, that he finds a way of blaming Daniel Levy? Does anyone get that feeling that it all boils down to Levy?
When it rains, when there's traffic. Levy.
Yeah. Hang on. Sir,
I'm with you, Lubo. I'm with you.
Am I wrong in what I've just said?
No, you're not. You're not.
If he's employing them, it's his responsibility to make sure that the people going down the pyramid are of a top quality. How come other clubs do it?
I just look at Lang. I hear you. I just look at Lang and I think to myself, guys, what's he done since he's arrived? What's he actually done? So when did Lang join? When did Lang join?
2 years ago, I think.
Okay. So he joined just after the window, Angie's first window, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, he joined after. So his first window was what? Radu Dragusin and Timo Werner, right? His second window was Gray, Bergvall, Odeberg, Solanke, and Yang. His next window was Danso and Tell on loan.
And
his next one... Hang on, Lubo, let me get... Lubo, I know you know it, but I know it. It's why I'm reeling it off. Right? Kinski, and then Danso and Tell have now come in permanently to Kai Kudus. In all of those signings, the only one I rate as a pro is Kudus. What's that? 4 windows.
And the only one that's come in to immediately improve the first 11 was Solanke and Kudos. Because we didn't have a striker. Son was playing through the middle, wasn't he?
I don't think Solanke improved the 11 in any way, shape or form.
I think Danso's a good signing. I think he's a very good player. He's not a drop-off. If he comes in, if Romero Van der Ven get injured, he's not a drop-off.
I mean, it's like you look at Van der Ven, he was bought more on potential than quality.
He'd been good.
He'd been playing for years down at a good level.
Oh, come on. Most of the people didn't even know who he bloody was until we looked at him.
But most of the people who don't watch any other leagues, Dan Van der Ven.
That's a lot of people. He was only known in Germany for that season, really. That was his first solid season.
People knew who Mickey Van der Ven was. He was captain of the under-21 Dutch team. He was playing centre half for Wolfsburg.
But a lot of people seem to he wasn't a well-known player sort of thing. He wasn't a player that we bought for his there and then quality. He was a player that looked like he was improving and getting good, and we bought him more on the potential side. He wasn't an established.
The TSHOW was the one that everybody wanted. Everyone said that we should be going for TSHOW.
And a lot of people didn't.
Everyone was going cheap option.
And a lot of people didn't even know who he was. Because most people only watch the Premier League.
Yeah.
On the Lang thing, though, but the only thing I hesitate with Lang, like, how far can we go back and say, are these people given the conditions in which they can be a success at Tottenham? I can't believe that these people are going that, you know what, my number one signing for the summer is this 20-year-old guy from Japan. I'm only speculating, but I'm sure that they've probably got a decent list, right? And there's a certain cost attached to that. And then other people, I won't say who, Lubo will fill in the blanks. Other people will then review about which one we're going to go for.
Okay, so Chris, let me ask you this. Let me take it away from Daniel Levy for 1 second.
Try.
If you're saying to Lubo will get his name in there within seconds. Right, Lang has spent £30 million on Odegaard as a winger. Right, 45 million in total on Tell as a winger. Right, and 60 million, give or take 3 million on Dominic Solanke. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if we add that up, right? If we add that money up, isn't that close to 125, 130 million pounds on those three players, right? Are you telling me that a proper director of football is told, go and get me two good young wingers, and the best they can come up with is Odegaard and Tell? Right? Go and get me a 60 million pound striker. The best they can come up with is Dominic Solanke. So I know we want to have a go at Daniel Levy, but how do these other clubs out there buy much better players for half the price? I know how. Scouting. Scouting. We've been lazy. Odegaard from Burnley. I mean, everyone going, oh my God, Odegaard. He's a nothing type winger, isn't he? He's all right.
But we do get, the thing is with our scouts and stuff, and this has always come up with our scouts, and people say they do scout the players, but it always comes down to the negotiations that end up being the bit where it breaks down. And look, we don't know who the ifs and buts are, but there's always plenty of players that probably are at the training ground, end up not coming because of X, Y, and Z. And everyone always blames Daniel Levy in the end. So I know what you're saying about, I know Odegaard and all that. Is that what Lang is putting on the table? But he could be putting other players on the table but the board just think he's not worth that. He's not worth this. And maybe that's the way it just comes down to.
Marlon, look right now. Look right now, Marlon. Leeds are in negotiations with TSHOW of Feyenoord, right? Mm-hmm. Everton are in negotiations with Malik Fofana of Lyon, right? I'm sorry. Is our scouting team incapable of looking at those two players who are both going to be under 40 million quid, right? That our scouting team went, Tell, that's our guy. There was no, it was so early in the window, right? We went, Tell, 40 million. But it was like we hadn't scouted. We hadn't looked at anyone else.
But with Tell, we know the reason why. It was more to do with the Bayern Munich and Harry Kane. And that's the way that is. Like we could all see that. But when it comes to Spurs negotiating stuff, it's always a case of that, yes, we could be scouting this player, that player, but but what we're always hearing is that Tottenham want to save money here, save money there. So it's a case of what's the payment terms, what's this, what's that. And I think sometimes this is what the problem is when they're going out to buy these players.
Yeah, but not with these players that I'm talking about, the levels we're talking about here. Like I get it if we're talking about the levels of a Gibbs-White and a 60 million and release clause. I get all that. But when look at the level of players, how are Palace buying better wingers than Spurs? How are Leeds? How are Everton?
Because they I think a lot of because I think a lot of them, when it comes down to it, I think they see the manager and they go, let's buy the players for the manager. We go, okay, no, let's fill out a squad. How many players would you have said that we bought for the last set of managers have been players for that manager who suited their system? We could tell when Conte was here, half the players that were signed were never ever suited to Conte.
Mm.
And this is
No,
why
that one's true.
Toys at the Prime.
I
And
think
then-
Angie's first window, a lot.
And yeah,
were
Ange's
bought.
first window, but I don't think the windows after that then correspond.
No, I agree with that.
What Ange was trying to do. So it kind of, we were just, as Chris said earlier, we were just filling in, you know, holes where we could, because we needed a defender, and they just went, here's Danso, put him in there. Did he even suit the way Ange played at the time? Nobody knew. Probably not. But he just had to be there because we needed bodies through the door. And I think that's the biggest problem.
I think by then they knew he was getting sacked anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So we always have this problem that we always buy players that are never like, and this is why when we go young, it's always a case of, are those players for the current manager now? And majority of the time they're not. They're just told to shoehorn them in, and then we sit here and go, oh, why didn't we buy this player, this player, this player? And I personally think, I personally think the scouts do go and do the job. I just think it's when it comes down to the negotiations of what the board and everyone thinks.
We're gonna have to disagree, mate. I'm sorry if these clubs that are smaller than us can go and find these gems. There's no what doesn't make sense about it, right? Is if I gave you 75, 80 million and said, go and get me 2 wingers, right? I reckon you could go back to Daniel Levy and go, I found you 2 for 40 million combined. Wouldn't he like spending less money?
Depends who the clubs he's negotiating with, because it depends on what he's done before.
I'm sorry. I fail to believe that Daniel Levy is scouting the football players. Like, do you know what I mean?
No, it's not scouting of the football player. It's more the case of the money that's going to be paid out and how it's going to be paid. That's where the problem always comes down to with him. I get what you're saying.
Not the 25 million euro footballers. Like,
you
can't blame Levy for everything. Like, I feel
no.
We can't blame him for everything. Like, that's just.
But the reason why I'm saying, because I go back to the scout who was on TalkSport talking about the players that they handed on the table, but they ended up going with another option or someone else with a different option. And I kind of get that's what most of the directors of football come out with. They kind of go, I wanted this player, but then everything always sits at the board's door when it comes down to that.
Is that they're all there to save their own bacon, aren't
they?
Yeah,
of course they are.
So, like, if you listen to Arsene Wenger, he's nearly signed every single top player that's ever lived. Even if he weren't a manager, he'd still attempt to sign them. So, like, I know what you're saying. I do think it is a part of that. But I think, Sav, you use the example quite often about Archie Gray. You got the 2 boys that went out and played. Thuram went out to Juve. You had the guy at
Thuram, Kone, Sanderberg.
These are all the same price that were available. And they're all the same price. The wages are not much different. So we're not talking, we didn't want to go the extra mile. We didn't want to spend this few million. We're talking about young players that still would get sell-on value, same wages, same costs, but yet they haven't been looked at. Now, that for me, it has to fall as well as being either they've come in under the remit, we're going young and this is constantly what we're going to keep doing, which that's difficult to keep managing up, or the remit that they're under, or it's obviously the poor networking. And we've always, I think it's quite known that we don't have as many scouts out there like others do. I don't think we have as many scouts as the top clubs. They've all got scouts absolutely everywhere. And I'm pretty sure we don't, or that's just been changed.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. Look, I mean, guys, let's, I want to bring this back to where we are now, right? We know the squad has flown out. They're on the plane right now, flying out for tour. We've got Arsenal on Thursday, and Arsenal have been going quite strong in pre-season. Looking at their team, you've got Arsenal followed 3 days later by Munich, followed Newcastle, followed 3 or 4 days later by Munich, right? And then we come back and 3 or 4 days later, we're playing PSG. I'm confused at 1, who set these pre-season friendlies. 2, who thought that this squad was good enough to play in the Champions League. And 3, I'm asking this question: is there going to be any urgency? Are we going to see now the Morgan Gibbs-White deal has fallen through? Are we going to see any urgency in this next 2 weeks before the season starts? Are we going to see any urgency at all from Tottenham to even make it look like they've tried?
I feel sorry for Thomas Frank.
Sure.
I really do. I feel sorry for Frank because he's not a magician. He's a coach, and I don't know what people expect of him. You can upskill a player only so much. I don't know. They've got to sort it out. They've got to sort it out fast. They've got to sort it out. Go and get Paulini and Grealish. There's a start. Those two. Get those two in.
But a lot of people say Grealish ain't good enough for us.
We got fans who don't think Grealish gets in our team.
Sod the fans. Look at Pedro Neto. Everyone was going absolute uproar that we didn't get him in the summer, and Brennan Johnson has scored 4 less goals than him in his whole career last year. So don't worry about what the fans think. Sod that. Go and play players that are better than what we currently have. You see them day in, day out. It's what you paid millions of pounds to do. Just go and sign players. It's like I just don't get some of the fans' views and some of the players we shouldn't be signing. It's just. But
the point I'm more getting at here is. A lot of people are going into meltdown over that we're not doing anything. Yet we go over and say, do you know what? Let's get Grealish on loan for 200 grand a week. City will pay the other 150 because I don't think they're going to be able to sell him. It will still save them significant money. And you'll have a very high amount of fan base slam that table down. Grealish is not good enough for our Spurs team. And you're just like, what? Over Odegaard, over a very done and dusted Son.
Dan, let me remind people. Look at those options out wide. Grealish isn't good enough. Look at it.
People will still say it.
I've never known anything like this fan base.
I make Luke 100% right. It's the manager's jobs. It's the scouts' jobs. It's the owner's jobs. Go and do your job. Get the right players in there. But you will find that there's a lot of players that Spurs look at, and a lot of the fan base won't have none of it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I genuinely think if Grealish comes, I think the fan base will be excited. The wider fan base, I think, will be excited.
Just going back to your question, Savva, about the urgency, I don't think we'll see any urgency unless we are battered by Arsenal on Thursday. It's the only way I see us then going, oh my God, this squad ain't good enough. If there's a positive result, they look at it and go, oh, you know what? This squad actually ain't that bad. And I think that'll be the problem. If they go into that game on Thursday and play half decent, the board will look at it and go, okay, maybe the players that are here are not as bad as everyone's making it out to be, because this is the team that finished second and have just signed all these players.
So basically, we need to go in that game and get our ass kicked.
If you want any, I think if there's going to be any urgency, pretty much, because that's going to be the biggest test. And
that does make some sense, you know.
Dan, I don't think you need to hope, mate. I think that's just what's going to happen anyway. So.
I don't think it will, because Newcastle not been playing well today, and I watched the game today, and Newcastle snuffed them out a little bit, but Arsenal won it in the end because obviously they had the better team. But if we went and lost 3-2, I don't think there'd be any urgency from this board. They'd go, oh look, we compete with them, and you can clearly see that's what's going to happen.
Can we be making transfer window decisions based on a pre-season friendly? Like I'm really concerned if this is where we're at. I'm so concerned if that is how we're going to operate our business.
I think the plan.
Yeah.
I think the plan was always get Morgan Gibbs-White over the line, and I think everyone within Spurs expected that to be done. And then it was all solely on outgoings, and then we work out where we can fill gaps after that. That's what I think it was. And I'm worried that they didn't have an alternative because they was fully convinced that Gibbs-White was done. And that's the only way that we're going to chase our tail now, is trying to find someone that can be the replacement for him. But then all of these other players need to leave before we do more work. That's what I think is going to happen.
Savva's a Levy puppet. I genuinely don't understand if people understand my job as the host is to kind of sit in the middle sometimes and ask some questions to get some debate going. Big up to you. Let me do some quick super chats. By the way, 1,075 people in here, which is amazing, but 243 likes. Honestly, do you know what? When I'm on other channels like that are not Spurs related, these people smash the like button for fun. Spurs fans, like, come on, guys. Look, I've got you a panel of 6 people who are all giving up their Sunday evening. All giving up their Sunday evening. You can't even hit a like button. It's free. You're not having to pay to watch this. It's free. So please smash that button. On the super chats, big up to Tony Rodriguez, who's been very generous today. Thank you very much, my man. Just starting the ball rolling with a super sticker. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Big up to Cryptics, who earlier on said 600 plus in it and not even 100 likes. Mate, it's now 1,075 and not too many more likes. So big up to you, Cryptics. Appreciate that. Will North said, big fan of the show, mate. Just wanted to say that 11 of those 29 are teenagers. Shocking considering only 2 of them can contribute. Yeah, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic that is what we're going on pre-season tour with. And yet people will still be upset if we lose to Arsenal on Thursday. I fully expect to lose. If we win, I think it's a bonus. Big up to you, Will. Thank you very much. AJ said, never thought we'd sign Morgan Gibbs-White. It's got Levy's DNA all over it. He knew what he was doing. We never put up any kind of fight to get it over the line. AJ, Lubo has told you once, twice, 3,000 times that Levy has nothing to do with the signings anymore. It's Vinay, all right? So please, it's Vinay. Lubo said so. Big up to you, AJ. Big up to you. Big up to SSJ as well. Said, Ange would have lost us both games, in my opinion. Yep. Look, what I do think we need to do, SSJ, I do think we need to stop this Ange versus Frank thing. Like, every single thing that's happening now is Ange v Frank. Can we not let Frank get in, build his team, have more than 2 weeks on the training ground with them, get 10, 15, 20 games into the season, we'll see where we are and see how we've developed. Like, I feel like it's so counterproductive, the Ange v Frank thing. I think it was fun, and now it's got a bit silly. Big up to you, SSJ. Big up to our best name on YouTube, Krista Scorpion Nyland. Great name. I said, Kinski on loan to Lille, says the rumours. Sack Lang now and bring back Paratici ASAP. We're going to talk about Paratici in a minute. Don't worry about that. And we're going to talk about the Kinski loans. Big up to you, Krista. Really appreciate that. Big up to AJ, who said, is the Morgan Gibbs-White deal and the like of not what the Gooner was brought in to do? Lang is not fit for purpose. At the moment, I agree with you. I don't think Lang is fit for purpose. We've just talked about Lang. For me, I think that this guy should be nowhere near an elite football club. The fact that Aston Villa let him go tells me everything, and they replaced him with someone much better. So big up to you, AJ. Appreciate that. Rick Kane with a super sticker. Thanks, bro. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate another super sticker from D&B Forever. Really appreciate that as well. Big up to Mark. Said, evening, Savva. Congrats on the 20K. Thank you very much. Yes, long slog. A long slog. Big up to you. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Cat Funt said, refresh in Asia. Let's get results when we get back. Well, I'm going to ask that question now. Oh, hang on. More have come in. Big up to Andy Lester, who said, and that's the bottom line because Lubo said so. Listen, when Lubo says something, it means it's true, apart from everything he's got wrong so far this summer. Big up to you, Andy. Really appreciate that. And Scott M out there in Canada. Hello, Scott. Said, please use this to buy Marlon a beer to help him getting over being dumped by Last Word on Spurs for his boy Ash. Oh, Marlon, have you been dropped?
No, I was on a weekend break because it was my daughter's birthday, and I thought Savva would ask, and I was like, at 10 minutes, because they were doing a spa. I thought I'd come on to see Savva instead. Savva's my guy. I've been here from the beginning.
Ash is dead to this show. Ash doesn't even respond. Ash doesn't even respond on the Spurs review group anymore. He's gone. He's gone to me. Big up to you, Scott. And I'm only joking, by the way. I love Ash. Big up, Scott. Guys, girls, how important are the results in pre-season versus time, minutes in the legs, giving Frank time to see the players, see what's wrong with the players, work with them? Talk to me.
Bringing in, it's about putting together partnerships, systems, just passing movement between players. That's the important thing. The result, not so. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Has no bearing on the season. It's just about being ready for the start of the season. That's it. So, if we won both games 6-0 yesterday, What difference?
It's not the results, it's the pattern of play and the partnerships and all that kind of stuff. And
Agreed.
frankly, if we lost 5-0, but there was some sort of sign that we're beginning to go on the right trajectory, then I couldn't give a crap, honestly. Although if we beat Arsenal, obviously we might as well rinse the hell out of it and try to take some sort of moral upper ground. But
I mean, when do you want your manager to take some chances, to try some stuff out, to just,
absolutely,
I'll give it a go? Do you want him to do it in the friendlies or the first 5-6 games of the season? I'm sure that's what the friendlies are for. Plus, they are basically training games. Okay, when we play teams like Arsenal and that, even though it's only a friendly and the game is totally irrelevant in every which way, it's still got that bit of personal side to it. I get that. But at the end of the day, even if we get beaten 10-0 by Arsenal, what effect does it have on our season? Nothing.
Does it? Honestly, I'd be interested to know, does anyone actually give a shit about the score against I couldn't care less.
The fact that it's Arsenal, I don't want to get smashed up, whatever. I'd rather beat them whether it's a friendly or not. But I totally get what you're saying. But the point I'm making is more, even if we did get beaten 10-0 and it hurts a bit, it's still going to have no effect on the season.
But if they did beat us, we can just say "War a trophy" to everything they say.
Yeah.
Positives.
I just, the reason I asked the question, guys, is I've never ever seen the size of meltdown from a pre-season game as I did yesterday online. Grown men who couldn't wait to jump in and see Frank shit, should have kept hands. And you're like, what? Like, whoa. We saw
only grown in a physical sense. So,
sure, but we saw 41 footballers over 2 games. 41. We didn't see anywhere near the best 11 in any game. We had no Kulusevski, no Maddison, no creativity. What is it that people wanted to see after he'd had them for 2 weeks on the training ground? I'm so baffled as to how many people think that a manager goes like that and we're going, wow, we're amazing. I'm truly baffled.
When I watch pre-season games, I don't know whether this is just me, and it may be, but it always involves youth players. It always obviously does. And to be honest, I half shut off. I'm almost on autopilot watching it. I like to see to make sure they're making certain moves and what tactics they're doing. But when like Byfield comes on, I'm like, right, and I'm really invested, and then I want to see how he's actioning when he gets the. So for me, it's more like seeing the young players get involved, be a part of it, and then obviously going on a tour and things like that. So I don't really make much of it. I would much rather not win the first 10 pre-season games and win the first 10 games of the Premier League than the other way around, put it that way. So it's all it is a build up to that. If they put everything behind closed doors and we didn't get to see any friendlies, it doesn't make any difference to anything as long as we start the Premier League season well.
Look, you have to go back to one day Ramos when he won how many friendlies, won them all, and then didn't win a game. Well, it just doesn't work out like that. Most teams will lose. I think, but there was a time that Bolton lost all their friendlies, and then they went the first 10 games unbeaten, something stupid like that. We're top of the league. So friendlies don't really matter. It's more about getting the minutes under your belt. And I think what a lot of people saw yesterday was because it was just that both games were pretty boring. Yeah, and I think that's the bit that everyone had the problem with. Well, I hope they did. But just to be blaming it on Frank already, you can't really, like you said, 41 players, and we saw 41 performances. So you sit there and you've got to take out of it who impressed, who did you feel like actually I can see this person playing impact against Paris, and who are the ones you're going. Sonny's probably the prime example right now, where everyone's looking at Sonny's performances and going, this is a shadow of himself. This is not the guy we should be taking forward. Ben Davis is another one. And I think that's what the biggest problem is. We can't really look at these friendlies and go, that's what it's going to be like on the first day of the season. Great. Because they never are. They never are. You end up being completely different. You can't make 11 subs. Most players are looking at it going, I'm going to get minutes and then I'm going to get subbed on the 60th minute. Then when they're going to have to play a 90-minute game, it becomes completely different. So look, the performances will come. Frank, you can clearly see, and one thing that I've clearly seen over the last 3 games, and is the defensive side. The defensive structure has been there. You can clearly see it.
There's a back 4 instead of a back 2.
Exactly, or 3 when they kind of go out. But you can clearly see that's the biggest thing that has changed. Everything else will come. Unfortunately for us Spurs fans, we've just come off the Europa League win. we have really got to be patient and really just take small steps in what Frank's trying to do. Regarding the players coming in and out, that's a totally different subject. But regarding performances right now in the friendlies, you just got to go, you know what? They're not all going to be the best results, but as long as we're not getting completely smashed and there's looking like, and you are seeing the patterns of play, you are seeing things go like Kudos has probably our best player in this preseason, where and that's for me is that actually we've actually made a good signing.
Yeah.
But where are the rest? So you've just kind of got to take it. And the problem that I'm having at the moment is some of the players who ain't going to be here. Like I can't see, like none of our players are being linked anywhere, and that's a massive worry at the moment that none of them are being linked elsewhere. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next while they're away, because Tottenham generally, when they go away, generally don't like to do any signings at all. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks.
I mean, Chris, Marlon's right, because you sent me a couple of sets of results last night on my WhatsApp, didn't you? You showed me, I mean, somebody had made up that Ange had a great preseason in his first year. This isn't about Ange, by the way. We just use it as an example. And the only two teams he beat were Shakhtar Donetsk and Lion City Sailors. Then you sent me one day Ramos's in the 8 games, six or seven friendlies he played. I think we drew 1-1, all the others. Battered Dortmund, battered Roma, and then rocked up 6 defeats and 2 draws from the first 8 games. Is everyone just losing their mind a little bit with preseason scores these days, Chris? Because before media was like this, I don't remember there being this kind of nonsense for preseason. I really don't.
I'm trying to go on mute when I'm not talking, so if you can hear my bulldog snoring and it's really bad, do let me know, because
I'm all
really
for
good.
it. I'm all for it.
I don't think it's any reflection on the stream, Savva, so don't take it too personally.
You're all good. You're all good.
Preseason. I mean, I'm 45, so supporting Spurs 40 years, give or take. I don't really recall ever caring in the slightest about preseason results. But these days, we have to overanalyze absolutely everything, don't we? And it gets a bit tiring, but I genuinely think that most of the balanced Spurs fans aren't going to really care. Like Dan said earlier, I think a lot of this is people just overreacting, or in my opinion, I think a lot of it is agenda driven, and it's still the legacy of Ange and the whole Ange cult. Unfortunately, I don't know how long that's going to take to go away, but I guarantee it won't be in the first 10 games of this season. I think it will be very much active and part of all the meltdown that goes on after every single game, and that will be the pre-seasons as well. So yeah, that was under Ramos. Under Ramos, we ended
that
with
Ange cult thing. You say that's going to be there at the end of the season if we don't win a trophy.
Probably,
I think this is going to linger for a bloody long time. I mean, no one really turned on Ange properly until towards the end of the season. I mean, I called him after about 6 or 7 games on Savva's show and said, you cannot play like this consistently through the season. You will get cooked. But he's obviously got a plan B, which he didn't. That was the bit I got wrong. But I still didn't turn on him and say Ange out until the start of the following season. I said I wasn't keen on him by the end of the season, and I don't think there was many that had actually turned properly get him out as such until the second season started.
I don't want to turn this into an Ange debate, so we might need to steer back again. But what will be interesting, the Ange fans will come for probably the most of us on this panel, I guess, but certainly Savva, yourself, me, and Lubo for sure, who didn't like him and wanted him gone. They'll come for us, but how can they, whilst we're still in a cup, how can they have any opinion? Because it's all okay, isn't it, if we win a trophy at the end? So until we're out of them all, I don't think they've got they can't say anything.
Aren't you allowed to lose every single league game as long as you win a cup?
That doesn't matter, does it? It's all on the end of the
European Cup. European Cup.
No, they never said
any cup.
They were all about the semi-final, and we're still in, and watch what we're going to do in the FA Cup until we couldn't beat Tamworth in 90 minutes and then got embarrassed at Villa. But I don't know if Savva wants to take this. That's a completely different direction, so we might want to pivot.
Basically, unless Frank wins a cup, he's going to get slammed no matter what by a certain amount of the fan base.
He's not going to win a cup this year. He's not going to win a cup. If he does, he's a legend, because he's not got the Europa League to fall. He's not got the easy one to fall back on.
No, I get that, but I'm just
So what
saying,
league
unless he
position does
wins a
Frank need
cup
to
of some
finish?
sort, fans are going to turn on him.
So if he doesn't win a cup, like what league position do you think the Ange fans would accept?
Can I answer that?
Frank,
Because it's a question that always frustrates me because I don't think there's an answer for me. Because there's a lot of variables in what happens in the season.
Yeah, of course, but I'm looking at it as
Marlon, trajectory is important. If we start like Ange and we finish 8th and we finish the season like that first, that's not acceptable for me. If we start slowly, I can understand why if we're in the bottom half, even October, November, December, but we start to see the players beginning to understand his system and we finish the season well and finished in 8th. I think that is
like Chelsea did season before.
100% under Poch, yeah. The way they finished.
Yeah,
so it all depends on
so 8th and a good end.
Do I have any investment and hope in where we're going rather than where we are right at that moment?
Make sense?
No, I agree. I agree with that.
It's gone. Just leave it alone. It don't matter. He's gone
won't,
now.
mate, though, will they? They absolutely will not.
Just forget about it.
But Luke, they won't. They won't because now, listen. I mean, look at the age of people on this panel. How many managers have we all seen? Why are we acting like Spurs don't sack managers? You know, like somebody the other day said, "Oh, it's Spurs. We always sack managers." And then somebody in the chat actually did some research and said, well, actually, if you look, we're not one of the worst clubs at this at all. There are clubs out there that sack managers like on average, like every 9 months or something. It's only us again if you pit us against Liverpool because they had Klopp for so many years, City because they've had Pep for so many years, right? It's very few and far between how many clubs actually have a manager for years and years and years. Poch was here for what, 5.5 seasons?
Yeah.
Right? That's actually quite good. That's actually very good in this Premier League here, isn't it? To be somewhere for 5.5 years. Chelsea, look how much they've won. They've never had managers that do 5-year stints ever.
But it's getting more and more difficult, isn't it? Because obviously, if you get like a low league team, for instance, you're going into a team. So let's say someone's been sacked, you're at the low end of the table, and you do a really good job. Because of the quick transition of all of the other clubs, the likelihood is that you're either out the door because you've done bad, or someone else has come in for you anyway. So the expectancy of a manager is always now because at the top level it's constantly changing. That impacts everyone. So even Frank, for instance, that was a bit of a shock to everyone. He was there so long, but he was at Championship, then he came up, and that's the reason he stayed. So what's the expectancy? Is it not like something like 24 months or something like that? Yeah, like 18 months or something like that. So it's not, managers are not around for like years and years. It just doesn't happen because if they're doing successful and they're doing well, they're probably going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah. I just find it interesting. We're acting like we've never sacked a manager before in our lives. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've seen so many managers come and go from Tottenham Hotspur. I just think I don't support managers. Like people keep saying to me, you wanted Ange gone. What if Frank has a terrible, terrible year? Cool. Well, if Frank's terrible, you know what? I'll probably want him gone as well. You know, I don't, you know, somebody just in the chat, did you see it? They just asked, Savva, if Frank has a terrible year, will you regret sacking Ange? Those two things don't have to coexist together. Like
I think the problem with Spurs is when we sack managers, it always seems to be a situation before it that seems to go, why did you sack them then and there? So, like obviously Mourinho before the cup final, Ange is obviously after a cup win, Ramos was after a cup win. Poch was after a Champions League final. So there's always some stipulation before it or slightly before it where you go, was it the right time? And I think that's the problem that that's why a lot of people do look at Spurs. And it seems to be more under Levy's era than the time before. But that's what I think why a lot of people look at us and go, our managers get highlighted a lot more than others. But you're absolutely spot on. The fact is, Spurs sack managers left, right, and centre, and we're used to it. We are so used to it.
But aren't all our managers? Aren't they all? I feel like I don't know if it's the same with other fan bases. Our managers seem to have cult-like followings. Like Jose had all these people that came over from other clubs with him, which baffles me. Conte just had, oh my God, Conte. You know, Poch definitely had, oh my God, he's magic. But you know, Ange, I've never known a manager lose so many games and get so many free passes. Frank, for me, is another manager. If he goes, when he goes, right? When he goes, he will go for a reason because he's probably not done very well. I don't understand the emotional attachment to these people.
I think it's modern day society, because if you look at a lot of people follow managers and players now more than they support clubs, and we're looking at this, and it's our fault because we've raised kids to this day and age to be like this, and we're like, what the hell are we doing? Because they should be supporting clubs throughout. But you find like the Cristiano Ronaldo, the Messis of this world, there's players that they follow and managers that people follow rather than teams, and I think that's the problem. That there's a lot of
that is quite true. I'd say that is quite true, Marlon. And the other way, I think people asked it a lot last season. What do you call getting behind your club? What do you call supporting a club? What do actually people look at it? And I think a lot of people look at it in different ways. I look at it, I couldn't give a shit about the manager. I couldn't care less about the players, what they do off the pitch. They can go and do what the hell they bloody want. As long as they perform on the pitch for Tottenham Hotspur, who I support, that's all I care about. Now, if something happens to Son and we sell him, baked potato, you ain't good enough anymore. See you later, mate. Whereas the sentimental fans will sit there and fight tooth and nail that he should stay another 2 seasons just because he's Heung-min Son. You will also get that about other players, managers and that. Whereas, again, I couldn't care less about the players or the manager. I support Tottenham. They say get behind your club. Well, I do. I want the best for the club. And when the manager is losing 22 games in the season, 26 games altogether, or a player is just not performing, I want him gone because of the best of the club. I don't support Ange. I don't support Frank. I don't support Harry Kane or Brennan Johnson or Van der Ven or Romero or Son. I support Tottenham, and I just want what is best for that. And if I don't think a player or manager is best for it, see you later. But then some people seem to have a very sentimental hook on, and I think Spurs fans are one of the worst, if not the worst, in the Premier League for it. Personal opinion.
Yeah, by the way, the average tenure, I asked my mate ChatGPT, the average tenure as of the 2nd of January 2025, right? Now this is important for that date, right? The average tenure was 755 days, which is 2.1 years, right? Now in 2023, it was 1.57 years. And the average across all of European football is 1.31 years. Now, that is slightly skewed because there's going to be a few managers on that data, like Thomas Frank would have had 7 years under his belt at Brentford in that data. Pep Guardiola's got about 8 years at Man City under that data. Sure. And no, this is 2025, right? Okay. And Arteta has got what, five years. So those 3 alone raise it. Now you take those 3 out. What managers don't get sacked? Do you know what I mean? This is the world we live in.
Sam, if you look at Spurs managers, from Bill Nicholson through to 91, when Sugar took over, there were 6 managers in those 33 years. But for the 8 years that Sugar ran the club, there were 9 managers in 8 years. And in 25 years since Enoch took over the club, or 24 and a half, there have been 19 managers in 24 and a half years.
I don't think that's to do with Tottenham, though, is it? That the whole of football has shifted.
It's changed.
Yeah. It has. But we've had Poch for 5 and a bit years, Harry for 4 years. So you've got 9. So 9 of those 25 years were 2 managers. So you've got 17 managers for the other 16 years under Enoch. No wonder there's no stability, is there?
I think that's right. Well, what Marlon said. I think that's what Marlon said is right. A lot of the fans are saying that you can use virtually every single manager that we've had and say they have achieved something. They haven't won things, but they've achieved something. So is it a case of getting to a Champions League final? That's not enough. We got rid of Poch because that wasn't enough to do it. We've got Jose.
That's not why he was sacked, was it?
No. But what I'm saying is, where is this? Like the first time we've heard him say that he wants to win a league. What are the objectives? What is the requirement at Spurs? What does Levy want from managers that come in? That Jamie Redknapp come out and said that when his dad had the conversations with Levy, it was never once mentioned about winning things. The only conversation was around hitting the top 4. So is that the be all and end all? So should every single club manager at Tottenham just focus on the league? Because that's what I think a lot of fans can't understand, where we're supposed to be going and what are the objectives. What's Thomas Frank's objective? This year is obviously his first year in, but you've signed a 3-4 year deal. What are your expectations as an owner for him to do in 3-4 years? And the fans have no idea.
But hang on, can I just show you this, right? So what Lubo's just said there, though, we are on average with the Premier League. This isn't like again, we're trying to paint and tarnish this brush with Daniel Levy that he's doing things that other chairmen aren't doing, and it's simply not true. Right?
Santini's missing. There's one. Let's get the others up. There's a few missing.
Sure.
You got to talk back to chat, you know. Sometimes it misses a few people. Tell it. Say it's missing Santini.
But look, okay. So according to this, the average tenure of a Spurs manager has been 1.9 years. Right, 1.9 years. So I don't think we're any different to other clubs. I just think there's a few clubs that have had the Wenger, the Fergie, the Pep, the Klopp. I genuinely, other than that, you might go with Moyes at Everton, right? When he was there for a long time. Sean Dyche at Burnley. But if you actually look across the Premier League for the last 30 odd years, managers come and go all the bloody time, don't they? Like all the time.
What frustrates me with that is I think a lot of football fans use that as an argument as to why you shouldn't sack people, right? Because look, Wenger, Ferguson, but that's not. They're not there a long time and then become successful. They're there a long time because they were successful and because the trajectory was like that, right? Not like Ange, like that.
Good point.
Bang on,
Chris. 4 years for Ferguson. 4 years for Ferguson.
It was less than 4 years, mate. But they'd also finished second in the league.
No, but he wouldn't be given that 4 years now, would he?
Yeah, well, but you're going back to the 80s, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like look, we're going back to the 80s. Like, can we let's? If I'm talking Premier League era, right? In the Premier League era, Chris is absolutely bang on. When we talk about managers, look at all he's Chris. That's the best thing I've ever heard you say. Right? That's absolutely bang on.
There's not many things.
No, this one's great.
VAR.
No, I love this point because people always use it in the wrong way, Chris. You're right. They always use it as, but look, Man City are successful because Pep's been there 8 years. Yeah, Man City are successful because Pep's one of the greatest managers in the world and has loads of money. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it's different to saying, well, let's just keep a manager for 3-4 years that isn't playing well. And this goes back to my mate Matt in the chat. I don't think he's in here today, but my mate Matt, who just keeps saying, give every manager 3 to 5 years. You're not going to get 3 to 5 years if you're not doing a good job. That's simply the case of anything, Chris, isn't it? That's in your industry, Chris. When you interviewed for your current company, right? Did they say to you, "Don't worry, Chris, you got a 3-year probation period"? Right? Do you know what I mean? You got a 3-year period. What's that? You're the worst employee we've ever had. Don't worry, you're only in year 2. You can have a 3rd year.
You've been reading my reviews at work.
Yeah. I know your manager. Do you see what I mean?
Sav, after Mansour took over Man City, he inherited Mark Hughes as manager.
Yep.
Who was manager for 18 months. From December 2009, Mancini was in for 3.5 years. Then they brought in Pellegrini. He was in for 3 years.
Yep.
And then Pep's been in since July 2016. So he's been in for 9 years. So they've basically had 3 managers in 17 years, Man City.
Yeah, but
Chelsea,
Man City are lavishing their managers with money and they're going win. Right.
When during that period with City, did they have a trajectory like we've had under Ange at any point?
Come on, Lubo.
No, but listen, Wenger was there from 96 till 17, 18, 19? I don't know. How many, 21 years? Wenger was there for, it's Ferguson was there for a long time. He, had a long period.
But you get long. you get that opportunity when you've earned the right to have that opportunity, right? Through winning doubles and loads of trophies like these managers do. So Wenger towards the end didn't win a lot, right? But he'd won shed loads before. So you're going to have the faith in him. You're not going to put that faith in a guy who's not won anything and you're sliding down the table, right? You're going to get him out.
Well, that's the reason Poch was here so long.
Point I'm making is if you've got
here for the top four. Yeah, top four.
If you've got a good manager, if you've got a good manager, and they tell me, do you think Poch deserved to be backed or to be sacked? I mean, there's a perfect example. You got someone.
Hang on. I'm VAR in this. I'm VAR in this. Whenever I hear about Poch to be backed or sacked, right? I remember at the time fans losing their absolute minds at the signings of Lo Celso and Ndombele, right? I remember fans losing their mind at Sessegnon. Oh my God, Sessegnon, this boy's club, right? He spent about 150, 160 million in that window on those
130 million.
Whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
He spent a fuck ton on Pochettino that window, and fans lost their minds. Yeah, it's only after the fact it was, he's not been back. We do this a lot. We do this a lot. At the time, we rave about everyone. Oh my God, have you watched Ndombele? Oh my God, this is the greatest footballer that the world has ever produced. Lo Celso, look, he's just banged in 18 league goals for Real Betis or whatever he did. It's only after the fact, oh my God, Daniel Levy's the devil, he didn't back Poch. Hang on. Everyone said that was a bloody good summer window.
He looked finished at the end, Poch. I think people forget this. At the end, he looked like he checked out and he was like, I need a break from this. So
what Ange's mate said. Yes, absolutely.
I'm just talking Champions League, European trophies, finals, heritage. You know what I mean? You guys just talk your league cups and your 7th and 4th places. But yeah, no, I think that's what it is. We look back on, and it will be the same with Ange. There'll be some people that will look back and say it was the greatest period that they remember supporting Spurs because he won the trophy, and others will say the football was dreadful. So it's just how people look back on it. But Poch was checked out for me, and I loved Poch, but he didn't. I don't know if he didn't want to be here, but he didn't look like he had the appetite to be here, and that's why he went. It wasn't all down to, and also I don't think. I'm pretty sure when he left, we hadn't won an away game that whole calendar year. It's like, my God, he's sacked and we're 4th. It's like, no, we're not. We're absolutely shocking at this moment.
Do you know the funny thing about this? This is the funny thing, right? If you actually look, listen, I thought Poch did a great job for the time he did a great job. Now, yes, we know about the whole building, if we need furniture and all that nonsense. I also remember Pochettino flirting with Real Madrid and Man United. If I'm not wrong, I also remember him saying things like before the final was that wasn't it about something about not winning doesn't matter or something along those lines. I can't remember, but no one seems to look at that year in between, Luke. No one seems to look at what happened to that man between January and October when he was sacked, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't win a game for love nor money. Our form was horrendous. He had something like 27 points from 28 games or something. Hadn't won away for a year. Looked like he checked out. Yeah. And at the time, I said he's got to go because this is not repairable. Like this is... And the same way I felt with Conte. It weren't...
Going back to what I said to Marlon a minute ago, it's about trajectory, right? And the trajectory we were on was clearly going that way. Weren't we second? Lubo might remember. Weren't we second at Christmas or something that year? And then we just went like that. I remember us losing 3-0 at Brighton when Lloris got injured. And
talking about the Champions League year, where we finished 4th, I think.
Yeah, but at Christmas we were about second, weren't we?
Can't remember.
I'm pretty sure we were. We were like right in it.
And then we beat Everton, and then we just went downhill from away from
the league season went down from 23rd of Feb when we lost to Burnley.
Yeah. It was awful after that.
And it went downhill from there on.
But also, it's about what your remit is. I've always said about like Wenger, for instance. Wenger never spent any money. He would come in and he would get the young players. He'd sell them on for profits, and that was quite happy to do that. If he'd have spent 30, 40 million every single summer, his job may have been in jeopardy 6-7 years previous. So it was all like I'm not saying I love Poch, but Poch's remit was give me young players, let me teach them, let me show them, let me lead them. and then they'll get better and better and better. Whereas if we hadn't spent loads of money, maybe his time at the club would have been before that, because we'd have been spending money. We would have want justification behind that, and we would have wanted to progress quicker and everything else. So sometimes you just get a natural course. And Van Gaal was the number one target that summer. We wanted Van Gaal. Everyone went all out for Van Gaal. We wanted Van Gaal. And then he turned around last minute, almost Morgan Gibbs-White, and last minute went to Man United, and that's when we went for Poch. So sometimes these things just happen like that.
Well, any third choice? Didn't we go for De Boer after that or something, and he turned us down?
But yeah, we might have. Yeah, we might have even.
But the first three players that Poch bought, I think, were Son, Toby, and Wanyama. Not kids.
What, the Poch ball?
Poch ball.
They weren't his first three.
Ambuli or someone
all
like
the
that.
others, from the teams, the 16-17 teams, 16-17 and onwards from the Leicester year, they were the three players that he had bought. He bought Wanyama in 16, I think it was, at the end of that season for the 16.
Would you like me to bring it up, Lubo?
Yeah, bring it up. He brought, I would think he probably bought players like Stambuli in the year before. There were 3 or 4 he bought the year before who didn't last, did they? He got rid of a lot of players when he came in.
He was a player.
Got rid of Adebayor, he got rid of Lennon. He got rid of
Paulinho. He got rid of Paulinho as well.
Yeah.
We naff Ranker signing, don't we? Like Paulinho, this guy's unbelievable.
From those great teams, most of the players were there that Mitchell had brought in the previous 3 years before Poch joined.
That is true. Seven of that 11 that was his famous 11 were at the club.
Yeah.
Who have I missed? His very first window, but I've got it.
What year? I'll bring it on screen. What year?
Well, Lloris was there. Walcombe Rose were there.
Hang on. What year? 14, 15.
Yeah, 14, 15. Who did you bring in?
Sounds right.
Hang on.
It's not great. I'm looking at it.
Hang on. It's coming, guys. Patience is a virtue. There you go.
And
So
Berahino was meant to come into the sun.
Berahino, yeah. So in his first year, Yedlin, Dyer, Vorm, Stambuli, Ali, Fazio, and Davies. Who would have thought? Look at that shower of shit.
Ben Davies outlasted the lot.
Ben Davies has outlasted everyone other than Enoch. He's outlasted
and the thing
everyone.
is, even back then, for the first, I'd say 2 seasons, Eric Dyer was not a bad player. He just went downhill when he went to centre-back. He was actually quite a solid defensive midfielder and also done the job for England.
Yeah.
And when he went to centre-back, he just felt a shit, basically.
Yeah.
Dan, he got a bad injury, and when he came back, he was never the same player.
Yeah, either way, when he went back to centre-back, he fell apart.
So let's have a look. So this was
a January signing.
So that was his first year.
Yeah.
And then in his second year, there we go. So second year was the year where he got Trippier out of IRL. Son would stand out there.
Yeah.
And then, got a few out. Soldado, Townsend, Paulinho. Basically, look, so most of these are part of that group, aren't they? Chiriches, Capoue, Paulinho.
That's the that we need to have now.
But this does link back to Frank. Right? When people are saying about Frank and having impatience about, he should do more, and that we're seeing here from Poch that it's taken him a year to clear out half the crap.
Again, you look at them transfers, there's only one there that you can really say, in my opinion, was an established player, and that was Alderweireld.
No, Son was at Dortmund.
Son was at Leverkusen.
No, he wasn't. Son was at Leverkusen. He was getting known again. He was not a worldwide established player, but he was getting known. Yeah. I think we look on it different. When I say an established player, I mean someone who is bang on there. The fans know him. All the clubs know him and everything as an established player. It's very rare you get to 21, 22 and you're a worldwide established player, in my opinion. Son was still on a lot of potential. Alderweireld was probably the only one there known who was solidly known.
Yeah, but I think I'm not looking at most football fans who don't watch any football other than the Premier League, I don't really take their opinion that seriously, if I'm brutally honest. If anyone didn't know who Son was at that time, they weren't watching football, were they? He was
But
coming in with
don't.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. But yeah, so Toby Alderweireld and Son came in, and then the next year, if we look at the window, was Wanyama. He came in.
Yeah.
And then the other one, who's the fourth one that he brought in? Oh, no, because Ali was in the first year.
Ali was,
Ali Wanyama, Alderweireld and Son.
With the 4.
Came in. Yeah, they were the 4.
Dyer as well.
No, that was, yes.
I mean, Dyer, if you want to, if we want to say. I'm just looking at
guys an established part of the best.
This was the window, but guys, this was, so if you flick back 1 year, so to 16-17, that was the window where they had Mane in the training ground. They had Wijnaldum in the training ground. They had Zaha in Poch's office. We could have had all of those players in 16-17.
I prefer.
Yeah, but why would we want them when we can have George, Kevin, and Kudu?
Sissoko.
Sissoko.
Go.
The centre midfielder that covered right back perfectly well. It was strange that he played centre midfield.
You remember he won against Dortmund?
Is it fair to say that we are absolutely shit in the transfer market in the grand scheme of things?
Could have just left
That's
it
the
as
biggest
shit.
problem. Yeah.
Nine times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. When do we? I mean, again, I say it. People, I suppose, even when some people call a player quality or good or world class, I suppose we all got different standards or look on it different. But when do we actually ever buy an established, solid player that we already know we're getting in and he's going to perform?
Gibbs-White.
Look, I think Kudus is the anomaly, right?
It's the closest to it in a while, isn't it? It's the
Well, no,
closest
he
to
is.
it.
He's definitely what you've just described, right? He is an established footballer that we know what we're getting.
But it's not very often we go and do it, is it?
No,
a
he's the
majority of
anomaly.
players we get is because they've had. I mean, people like we go back to Van der Ven. People were saying to it, "Oh, but he had 2 solid seasons before he played." No, he bloody didn't. He played 1 season, and the season before that, he played 3 or 4 games. He was only just getting known. We still bought him on more potential than what we knew he was going to do.
But that's every player, isn't it?
Players.
We always buy a player on potential.
That's what I'm saying. We always buy more on the potential side than we do on the solid established side, in my opinion. Now and again, we go for a player that we know he's good here, he's good now. But a lot of the players we go for, there's more potential to it than solid established, in my opinion.
That's why I don't believe for 1 second we're going to purchase Grealish or Palhinha or.
I agree. We bought Tell. Let's be brutally honest. We bought Tell. That's our left-sided winger, as far as I'm concerned. We bought Tell.
Yeah.
And for me, I'll be honest, guys. Whether he gets better or not, we'll see. But that signing, for me, and the first couple of weeks of the window showed to me. This is our ambition. This is our level of ambition. Is Matisse Tell. Now they can prove me wrong. They can shut up fans like me, right? Go and sign a Mikatadze. Go and sign a Greedy. Whoever it may be. Go and sign that player and show her. But
right, Sonny scored 21 in 60 for Leverkusen in the 2 years before he joined Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, Sonny was known. This isn't a thing. Sonny wasn't known by anyone that doesn't watch any leagues outside of the UK. But look, we have that now, right? There are players all over Europe that you mention them who would go, "Oh, who's that?" And you're like, "Well, pick up your remote control, watch the Bundesliga, watch Serie A, watch the French league. There's players everywhere."
I totally agree. But then there's other players out there for people that don't watch any other league but the Premier League, know of a well-established player because he's got such a good international record. That's just where I might look on it a bit different to others.
Yeah, sure. I look, at the end of the day,
when Newcastle got Tonali, 90% of people knew who he was.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. An established player. And a lot of people don't follow Serie A. Whereas a lot of other players, we usually get them when they've had a good season. or they've started coming up in the ranks, not when they've made it at, say, 25 years old with 3 or 4 consistent seasons. Like I said, we usually get them on more looking on the potential of how they could work out than how we know they're going to work out.
The problem is, Dan, that we won't get the 25-year-olds that have had 3 really good years because they'll be snapped up by the bigger clubs. And that's where we are at the moment.
So we won't get them. We don't want the 28-year-olds because our fans think everyone who's 28 is past it. Like,
no, they're not.
Where do we shop? Where are we shopping here?
And you can see where they're shopping. So.
The crash.
I hear you, man.
You can see where they're shopping.
Aldi's, Lidl's. That's where it looks like we go.
But that's the funny thing. It's like we've discussed it and we've gone over a couple of transfers already. It's not like we don't spend money. Like we spend some
money.
Ridiculous amount of money. Or how many left wingers from the French league were in that list that you pulled up? Like NJ and Kudus. Like it's just instead of instead of saying like we'll sign one player at 50 million, we'll sign 3, 15, 20. And it's like, no, you just need to make that jump.
Luke, when we sold Bale, we sold Calderwood and someone else. And I think we got 107 million in total. That 107 million was spent.
I don't think we sold Calderwood in the same window as Bale.
No.
20 years difference.
No, we sold Calderwood in... who was it we sold? I'm sure it was we sold someone with Bale and got some money. And that 107 million was spent on 7 players.
Yeah.
Instead of buying 3 top players, they went and bought 7. And only Ericsson, because I wouldn't call Lamella a success because he was injured most of his career at Spurs. Ericsson was the only one that you could call.
Oh, you're talking about Stephen Corker.
I thought it was Corker.
What, 20? No. What, when Bale left? Who else was there? Who else left?
Lubo,
with Bale that year?
Lubo, you're talking about Stephen Corker.
We got in. I think we got 20 million on top of Bale, and we spent the whole lot on 7 players. And
Lubo, I've got it in front of me.
Nothing's changed, Bev. You know what was just said was it's quantity rather than quality.
No, I agree. Which is why at the beginning of this window I said I don't want the tells. Listen, I've got no problem with a Takai at 5 million. I don't like 5 million doesn't eat into our transfer budget. Is that fair to say? 5 million, a club like Tottenham should be able to say 5 million. Yeah. Let's get this kid out on loan or get him a few minutes here or there. Fine. But this is why when we were spending 10 million loan fee plus 35 million to 45 million pound all in all to buy Tell. When people were going, oh, I like him. I see this. I'm looking at it going, sure, but couldn't that 45 million have gone on someone that we don't have to wait and see if they're good? Couldn't it have gone on someone like Mikatadze, who we know is good? Couldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Couldn't it have gone on someone who's established right now? That's why when people are like, oh, you hate Tell, I don't hate him. It's just it's another one where he's young. Oh God, he's young.
But that's where people like to make it out like you've got a problem personally with a problem. I don't even know him properly. He might be a nice fella, whatever else, but like the amount of debates we've had about players, the thing that most of us debate about is not that we dislike him or anything like that. We don't even know him as a person. It's just it's been the same argument for 2 seasons now, where there's been a few signings where personally, for that amount of money, we could have gone and got a more established, experienced player for less money or round about the same price and round about the same wages, give or take 10 grand. And me and you proved that on here. And again, when we went through the names, what a majority of people didn't want to know it, did they? They even said Locatelli weren't good enough for Spurs.
Cheers, Marlon.
See you, mate.
Love you, dude. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers.
Is he going on Ricky's show?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Dan, it's interesting you say that, mate, because honestly, the number of players we talk about on a yearly basis, Dan, every year when we do this, we talk about players, and the number of players that Spurs fans go, no, don't want him, don't know him. Oh, no, he's no good. He's only done it there. No. But then when we bring in the Odebers and the Tells, we suddenly go, oh, no, I like it.
They justify it.
I'm like, what? Like, how how are we doing this? Like, what are
Me
we
and Ben were
constantly
saying
doing?
it earlier when I'd done a show with Ben. Again, this fan base, it is too sentimental, it is too nice, and it likes to get treated like utter crap and then tries and justify why it gets treated like utter crap by making certain play. He's going to be the next Messi. He's brilliant. He's excellent. Did you actually watch him play? Has he actually ever played in the Premier League? Has he actually even played in a top league? No. Oh, yeah, but he's going to be the dog's bollocks. And they try and justify it. I find a lot of fans do. Obviously, not all of them, but a lot of them do. And, well, if you're going to try and justify the crap that you're being fed, then don't argue about it when it don't work, sort of thing. I just find a lot of fans, people were still, 2 seasons after, trying to justify Richie. Oh, yeah, but look, he went through that patch of scoring 12 goals. Yeah, it only took him 55 fucking bloody games. Oh yeah, but Solanke can do this. Well, he had one good season out of his entire career, basically, and people still justify it. Well, then be happy with what you got.
But do you know what? I'm actually a bit gutted, guys, because I was clearing out some of my StreamYard stuff the other day, and one of the banners that I got rid of was the banner that showed all of the forwards since we signed Son. And it was just a who's who of nothingness. Like a lot of players that had a good moment. You know, like Lucas Moura was in there, had a good moment. Bergwijn scored a couple of good goals. Llorente helped out in a fight. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a lot of meh. And I looked at this list. It was something like 14, 15 forwards that had come in, maybe 16 that had come in since Son. And it was just meh. And when I did a show on it last year, I just said every one of these has had fans going, you're negative, Savva. You don't give them a chance. And none of them did anything at Spurs. They've all gone, right? They've all been moved on. And it was still, and we're still doing that. We're still doing that now with Tells, with Odebers, with Yangs, with, you know, like Yang the other day got the ball against Luton, didn't he? Dropped his shoulder, beat a man. And I remember people going, oh God, he looks bloody tasty. And you're like, oh my God, like, is this all we need now to say a player's brilliant?
How much did we loan Tell out for? How much did we pay for him on loan? Was it about 10 million? Right. And how much did we get? How much did we pay to get him?
35, wasn't it? 45 in total. Yeah, I think it's 45.
So we just got to round it off. We call it 50 mil, yeah? Okay, no, 45. So basically, we got paid 55 million and Tell for Harry Kane. Now, if you would have said that to anyone just before we sold Harry Kane, I think a few people would have lost the plot.
Sure, 45 plus Tell for Kane is ridiculous.
55, I think it was. Yeah, 50, it works out about 55 and
Tell was 40 million. 40 how many million?
Okay,
roughly 40. Yeah, either way. Lubo, you're always so precise to the pound. We're just talking in general.
38.95 he was, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was the buyout clause.
It was £57.32 and a packet of crisps. You know, like just
basically we got 50, 55 million and Tell for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Are people going to try and justify that now, putting it that way?
Sorry, less the loan fee. Sorry for being pedantic. It was a 10 million euro. So it was, we got Tell, we paid £40 million for Tell over the loan fee and the transfer.
Sure.
We got 60 million for Harry Kane and Tell.
Come on, stop doing the pedantic thing. It's the same point Dan's making.
It's a bad deal, isn't it? Shocking.
It's a terrible deal. But
would anybody have accepted that at the start, if they would have turned around and said, right, we give you 60 million Tell for Harry Kane? How many people would have lost the plot? I think me being one of them, I was quite happy when he finally went for him and right. Let's just get it out of the system as such because it was dragging on. But if anyone would have said to me like 50, 60 million and Tell, I'd have been like, no chance, not at all. And I think everyone can agree with me there. But now all of a sudden, we've got the 50, 60 million for Kane or whatever it is, and we've got Tell, and people are trying to justify Tell. But then work it out. He was part of the deal for Harry Kane, basically. To an extent, you could say we got ripped off for Harry Kane.
For me, I'm not bothered about what part of the deal he was from so much. My point is, we will justify that player when there are so many better players we could have got. Right? Leeds are buying a better left winger than Tell. Leeds, they've just been promoted. Everton are buying a better left winger than Tell. Everton. Right? But we will go, oh, Tell this year, he's going to burst, he's going to do this. But when people are saying that, what's this based off? He's never done it in his career. He's never been prolific at scoring, never been really great at assisting. But again, he works hard. I'll work hard. I'll get myself into the best condition in my life if it means I can play for Spurs. Do you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? I mean, Chris, you said it earlier in the show. You said a lot of good things tonight, Chris. You're my man of the match. You said it earlier in the show. Can we stop getting people where we're talking about their best attributes being potential, work rate, pressing? Can we actually talk about, wow, look at the ability? Like when we sign Kudus, I'm not talking about his work rate. I'm going, yeah, that's a proper winger. Quick, strong, skillful, beats a man.
Dietrich's actually put in the chat, it's a little while ago now, so I'm not going to ask you to find it, but there's a link with Kobe Mainu. And it just amused me because the link said Spurs are impressed by his versatility. Of course we are.
But again, another young player who's, I mean, really?
We should go after
I don't mind
Toby
Mainu, but I mean, what is wrong with us as a football club? What is wrong with us?
I mean, if we go and get Paulinho, 20 million? Even if we hang on a little bit longer and no one goes for him, you could possibly even get him for about 15 million because Bayern Munich want him out. They need that. They want that extra money to spend it. You could probably get him at a very respectable price, but it's just not the way Spurs work in this project if we do it because of the age. Okay, we get him for 20 million. I still think you get at least 3-4 years out of him personally for the position he plays in. He doesn't rely on pace. You can get another 3-4 years out of that player. Whereas we just don't seem to want to go for older players as such.
It's not just the age, is it? Like if he was on 20 grand, we might do it, but he's on 190,000 euros. And that I just can't see us doing that for a 30-year-old.
It's going to be a loan deal. It only makes sense on loan, and it doesn't make sense for Bayern to send him on loan. And it's the same with Grealish. It don't make sense to buy Grealish. It makes sense for a loan. And I was saying, obviously, there was West Ham links. If West Ham can get him, then we should be going for that sort of player on 200 grand a week. But it's just, and this is the problem. At the end of the day, we just need to start targeting players that are actually going to improve this 11 because the 11's not good enough, and that's the bottom line. When we was going back to it earlier, what Lubo was saying in terms of these teams that finished above us. We can say that, well, actually, their transfer activity hasn't been as good, or they haven't improved with anyone yet. But we're still 2 or 3 players behind them anyway. So even if we sign 2 or 3 players, we're only on their level. So
instead of getting Tell, couldn't we have said, do you know what? Take 30 million off the price for Paulinho. You would have got a better deal out of it. And it was definitely something we needed more, an established midfielder.
I agree,
that
Dan.
Would have made more sense.
You know the way we look at this.
It's just not the way Spurs work, is it?
Because we're going to look at what's his resale value. I hate it. I don't.
I know. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. See, for me, if we were a ruthless club, we'd go out and we'd sign Paulinho for 20, 25 million quid, whatever it is, and we wouldn't worry about any sell-on value. Get 2-3 years out of him. And then, I don't know, for the last 2 years of his career, he goes to, I don't know, wherever he wants to go, Saudi, back to Portugal, whatever. But you're right. Chris, you're absolutely right. It'll be about the resale value. And I get it. With a lot of players, you're going to get resale value. But for the right here, the right now, Paulinho just makes so much sense. Yeah, who cares if we don't get... We spend so much money on players that we then end up selling for less money that we're losing money anyway.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that for a player that makes sense? And and by the way, the number of people I see that spell it wrong, Mauler, you're right. I learned this the hard way. Yeah, Paulinho. Yeah. The thing that makes me laugh is...
That's the problem. What you just said is the problem. But, someone told me close to the club that I said, why didn't we buy was someone who told me, heard this from Levy himself. Why didn't we buy Zayt instead of Bergwijn? Because Bergwijn was younger, cheaper, and had a better sell-on value. And that was the reason that came back. And that's the policy. That's the policy. That's the policy. They own the club. They're entitled to do what they want with it. But if that's the case, then...
But as Savva said, is there sell-on value? Because I keep going back to the Lamella thing, but we bought Lamella, we gave him away for Hill, spent 25 million, and now we can't get rid of him. So,
well, is there sell-on value for a Richarlison? Right. Another point I'll bring up then.
Right.
God forgive me, but if we went and put Archie Gray up for sale now, are we getting 40 million for him? Yeah, like hell. We'd be lucky if we got 15.
That's not
Lugo admit 40, to be fair.
You can't judge it like that. You can't judge it on Archie Gray now. That we didn't know, right? So when you buy him, you have to judge it then on what is the assumed potential resale value.
Right, and I'm saying what we paid for him. What would we get now for him?
Yeah, well, it only works if you've got any reasonable talent ID, right? If you assume that they'll go on to be better, but you're crap at recruiting, which we are, it's
but that is my point. That is my point. I've labelled two players there.
And sold on for more money. Who have we bought? I'm talking in the last. I don't want to go like Bale was so long ago. Like in the last 5-10 years, who have we bought? And we've gone. We've made 20 million on them. We've made 25 million. Who?
I think technically Bergwijn we sold for, but that is like
same money, Chris. Same money. We got our money back.
How much would we get for Odegaard if we put him out for sale? Do you reckon we'd get 47 million back for Johnson?
So Bergwijn, by the way, was sold for 31.25 million euros, and he was signed for 30 million euros. So we made 1.25 million euros. Go Spurs! We made a £1 million profit.
Yeah, we got the money back on him,
But the point is, all of these players, we won't go for a player like Paulinho because there's no resale value. But all of these players that we've sold in the last 5-10 years, I can't think of a single one that's given us more than a 10 million profit. Who? Everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat. So we're going back. I don't want to go back pre-Poch, otherwise we're getting silly. So from 2015. Someone we've signed in the last 10 years, right? And then we've sold for big money.
In the last...
Vimmer we sold, didn't we?
I was going to say Vimmer was a few. It was about 10-15 mil, I think.
So
well, when did we sign Cole Walker?
2007.
I'll find out.
2007 or 2008, I think, Cole Walker.
Right. So as I said, who have we...
17.
Sure. So as I said, who have we signed in the last 10 years that we've sold for money?
Signed in the last 10 years. Okay.
Signed in the last 10 years. But you look at all of them. Sanchez, Lamella. You look at Ndombele, Lo Celso.
People like Reguilon, we bought for a lot, didn't we? Reguilon.
33 million. 33 million.
Sissoko. Do you see my point? All of these players,
we've made big losses on.
Sanchez,
massive losses.
The only player that I can think of that we've really that is a kind of Paulinho type that we've gone out and signed was Parker, who was virtually free. I think he was 28, 29. He was a free transfer. And then we done it with Palacios. Palacios was a stopgap signing that we just needed, but I'm pretty sure he was like 26, 27, but it was a few million. But we don't do that. That's not the norm unless they're free transfers. We've done it with Llorente and a few others that are older, but it's virtually a free transfer market that we'd look at, and that's it.
So basically on transfers we've done a fortune, yeah. Yeah, we've done a lot of money. We lost a lot of money on transfers.
Yeah, lost loads. Yeah.
Great businessman though. Great businessman. Wonderful businessman.
Who's that? Vinay?
Transfers, eh? There you go.
But and that's the football inside again. That's not. It's
a complete
no. I'm saying what I'm saying is
people forget the footballing side because the value of the club has gone up. But people forget the day-to-day running of the football side for 25 years.
But that's his biggest success, is that he's divorced the success of the Tottenham Hotspur, the business, from the success of Tottenham Hotspur, the football team. As a businessman, I think that's kind of genius. It's shit for me as a football fan.
Divorced the success. Chris, you are on fire tonight. Yes. Divorce the success.
I'm going to have to up my appearance fee at this rate.
Yeah, it's from 0 to 0. Yeah, well done, mate. Yeah, you've done well. Look, but this is my point. I think the whole point of this, right? My mate in the chat, this guy's brilliant, Patch Thomas. You're so full of it, you don't know anything about sport. You just talk about prices. Hello, Patch. How you doing, mate? You all right there? You okay? You need a cuddle?
Savva, can you go to a comment on 22-21, Andrew?
22-21. Yeah, I can do that.
Andrew.
1 second. This?
Yes.
Here we go.
Archie Gray is a great prospect and will only be let down by our crappy development. Same as Gray. Now, Bergvall looks all right. Same as Bergvall, Tell, Odegaard are all great players in the waiting, but they won't get opportunities and will just drift off. That is exactly what I'm on about.
This is our fan base.
Okay, Bergvall looks like he's rough and ragged around the edges for sure, but you can see there's quality there.
But do you know what's actually funny about? Well, it's not funny, but with this comment, is that all of these young players should be around good season experienced pros, and we don't have that. We don't have the leadership. We don't have, like, if you had, like, you're talking like Bergvall and Gray, you had your Modric's of the world, that sort of thing, where they learn from the best players, the top professionals, where instead they're learning from a Basuma type. And that's the problem with signing all of these young players, is that they have to have experienced pros that they learn from, and we don't sign them. So therefore, we're signing all these young players who learn from themselves. It just don't.
Can I ask a question? I want to ask a question off the back of that to you guys. Lupo, don't you start popping any veins in your head, all right? Don't you start, all right? Comments like that, I always wonder when that person, big up Andrew, when Andrew wrote that, i.e. Lubo's, actually, I would say it was a Lubo burner phone, but I don't think Lubo's technology would allow him to have two phones at once.
He couldn't fax him quick enough.
Yeah, when people write things like that these are great players waiting to explode, or whatever the sentence was, what on earth is this based on? When have you ever watched Odegaard and gone, yeah? When have you ever watched Gray and gone, oh God, yes? Right? Where do these fans get this from? The superlatives, great, generational, the development. It's based on what?
The Gray one was definitely against Chelsea. He was definitely against Chelsea when.
So one game.
That
was before he was with us.
Because you was talking about people don't watch it outside of the Premier League. That is definitely, they've read that, they've heard that he was unbelievable, and that's where some people, not everyone, but that's where some people have gone straight away.
I think Chelsea's first team. A lot of the Gray stuff comes from he coped relatively admirably by being played out of position, right? Which I think he did pretty well for a kid being chucked in ridiculously into a position he's never played.
I can see that side of it.
But he's never. There's never one game where you come away from it thinking that was Archie Gray's game.
No, and when he actually got played in his position, he got his pants pulled down completely.
I agree with that.
And then,
he was poorly managed by Ange for that, to be fair.
Either way, he got put in his natural position, and you can see why he couldn't get in that natural position. Bergvall, you at least look at him and you're like, do you know what? Rough and ragged, like I said, needs sharpening up, definitely. But you can see there's a good player there. You can see he's got something. Okay, his final third for me was quite abysmal most of the time, because when it get round this, do a bit of this. But when it comes to the final third, the short ball, direct ball, or the shot on goal, it just didn't come through with him. But you can see there's a player there. Not one of those other players have played a game at Spurs and you've sat there and gone, do you know what? I can see a quality player there somewhere. I can see someone who will establish themselves. Bergvall is the only one for me that I've looked at and gone, yeah, I can see there's a player there. The rest of it, I mean, what the hell has
I can
Odegaard
see there is,
done?
but I don't want him in my starting 11.
I think
No,
we overrate him.
I agree with that. But
I
you can
agree,
look
Chris.
at him.
I think we overrate him.
I
I'll tell
agree
you
with
what.
that as
I'll
well.
tell you what with Bergvall. I think we've got this disease in this country. I can't speak for other countries. That we watch footballers and we don't actually watch all of them. And what I mean by that is we'll see Bergvall drop his shoulder and drive past a player and we go, oh my God, that kid. But we won't watch the number of times in a game that he just gives it away. We won't watch the number of times he tries Hollywood passes that don't work. We won't watch the number. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not knocking him. He's young. I keep saying this. Me and Lubo have had these rows for ages now. I say, let's stop hyping them until they've made it. So right now, when you hang on. So right now, when you say things like, you know, when you bring up lineups, you go, I'd love this. And it might be Paulinho and David Luiz, for example, Douglas Luiz. People will go, what? No Bergvall? And you're like, yeah. Why is that so hard to comprehend that we can have a midfield that doesn't include the 19-year-old kid? Like that's what we're conditioned to believe. I've heard all this nonsense for 2 years about Mikey Moore. He's a kid who might have potential. I've never seen anything where I go, oh my God, yes. But people will moan that he's going out on loan. Why?
But at least with Bergvall, you've seen a couple of times there's some skill there. There's a potential there. But any of the others, I mean, someone please do tell me more than one game where Archie Gray has actually stood out as. And don't tell me he's 18, because if you are good, you stand out one way or another. You can look at it and say there's a good player there. He didn't do it once last season, where he significantly stood out in that team when he was in it. Nor did Tell and nor did Odegaard. Yeah. Now, okay, they might improve this season, but usually what a big club does, they go and get someone like Gray, and then they go and put him on loan for 2 seasons or a season to improve him. No, people are saying don't put him out on loan. Okay, each their own, whatever turns you on, but I don't think he's going to improve at Spurs playing the odd game against Charlton, and maybe 1 or 2 60 minutes or 20 minutes in the Premier League, compared to going out to a championship team again, which is more his standards at this moment in time, and getting 30 games. And it's no one slagging anyone off. If you want me to slag him off, I can sit there and start calling him in names, but I'm not as petty as some of that lot. And me just saying that I don't think he is good enough right now, that is not slagging the player off. But again, people are justifying it. He should be on loan. Odegaard should not be in that first team. Tell has done nothing to prove that he is good enough for that first 11. But again, fans justify it.
Odegaard won't start because Kudus will start there.
Odegaard plays on the left, Kudus plays on the right.
Show what a massive waste of a transfer that was, right?
25 million. It's 25 million that they spent on Odegaard. It's for me. I didn't understand it at the time, to be honest with you.
Because that's the structure. That's how we operate. That's what we look for.
I know.
It's just,
Luke, I keep going back to it. We don't operate like a proper committed top football club. We don't. You can see it. We can all see it. I'm not saying anything that anybody doesn't know.
Sure. But by the way, listen, when people say things like this, I'm not saying he won't be.
Yeah.
The problem is there's too many people that are giving definitives about players. We can't see into the future. Look, you guys, if we all sat here, we're not going to do this. If we all sat here between us, got a pen and paper, right, and wrote down every young player that we've convinced ourselves over the last 20, 25, 30 years that's going to be the next big thing that never made it, right? Now, I'm not saying, when I say never made it, some of them may have gone to a lower level club, whatever. But why can't anyone wait for Bergvall to actually
I think he's
that player?
He did well in his first year. For an 18-year-old kid, he did well in his first year. I do think, you talk about we don't see the bad things he does. The guys who do this, the analysts, will have all his stats for every single game that every manager will see. So if he keeps getting picked or he's pushed himself into the team, then his stats are either probably better than the guy who was pushed out, or they can see an upward trajectory, and they say, right, let's push him in now. Let's help his development, push him on.
Sure, but the fans don't want to wait for development. The fans will see a player and look. People use words like special and generational, and he's class. Let me ask you a question. Everyone on the panel.
People don't even want to give Frank a few games competitively before they are. So what chance has a player got?
Lubo, you're talking about having all of the stats in front of them. My worry, and I think this is probably factual more than opinion, is that whoever's looking at it is probably doing it upside down, back to front, because they on a lot of these players, a lot of stuff that they see, no one really sees. As I said, the amount of times where we'll go and spend 10, 15 million on a player that's everyone looks at for 5 minutes and goes, he ain't going to be very good. He ain't going to suit this league. But we do.
But can I ask that, Sad? Can I just ask that?
Okay. Yeah.
Luke, we are fans, okay? All right. Sav's you and Stel got coaching badges. But the professionals see things in games that we don't see. And that's because of their greater knowledge and their greater understanding of the game. So they will see things. I remember someone I know who got taken into a studio with Terry Venables during the '94 World Cup. He was staying in the same hotel in Florida. And he went in and Venables went in there just to make notes, etc. And Venables was talking him through the game. And he said Venables was showing him stuff that was going on. He said, and he was 35 years old. He said, just looks at football, sees a game with completely different eyes. You know, we don't see these things. These pros see things that are going on.
But you say that, but these pros are often wrong as well. These pros are often wrong. Like, look, let me ask you guys a question. If I offered to you right now, I'm going to Bergvall to be your Spurs starter this season, or we have a senior pro and Bergvall is your player that comes in and is rotated in when that player's injured or League Cup games, whatever. What are you choosing? Do you want Bergvall or do you want a senior pro who's better?
Senior pro's better to make the club better, to make the first 11 better now, and also give something for Bergvall to learn off.
That's the point, Dan. That's the actual point.
Yeah.
Is
I do get that one.
I don't disagree with that, but by the same token, to me, I don't think Basuma, Bentancur, and Savva are better than Bergvall based on the form that I've seen them play over the last 6-9 months. Honestly,
that's why we need to improve it.
Can I ask you then? So what does Let me ask you, what does Bergvall do that Basuma doesn't?
Well, I think he's less rash. I think Basuma, just look
at Bergvall's less rash?
Yeah, he doesn't give away penalties like Basuma does.
Yeah, because he's not a defensive player, and nor was Basuma. And again, he was played out of position. He made 80% of his mistakes rash when it was a defensive thing he had to do, because he's not defensive in any means or manner. That was down to the manager making him play like that.
We had a big problem last season in midfield. None of them were particularly great, were they? None of them.
I agree.
And to me, I would have expected more from Basuma, Bentancur, and Sarr than what we got. So, for me,
but then don't you always put this on Ange's formation? So, like when you protect your star boy Romero from all criticism because of the system, why don't you apply that same logic to Basuma and Bentancur?
Hang on. I don't protect Romero. You
do.
I said Romero was at fault with the first 4 goals we conceded last season. Leicester, Newcastle, Arsenal, if that's not a foul by Gabriel, all down to Romero. So I criticise, when I think it's right. But for me, you couldn't put anything between Basuma, Sarr, Bentancur, and Bergvall. For me, don't think any of them.
I think if we're talking about who's a better player between Bergvall and Bentancur, for me, this is where we're going crazy.
I'm talking about performances last season. So Bentancur is the best out of the 4.
Yeah.
But in terms of performances for the team last season, I don't think any of them were particularly great.
I'd still,
There's no expectation on Bergvall, obviously, because he's a kid.
But we've got to stop doing this. Sorry, if fans that are more to your persuasion want these 18, 19-year-olds in the first team, then stop giving them the excuse of being kids. If you want them in the Tottenham Hotspur first team, I'm no longer judging them as kids. You're telling me they're good enough, right? This is what I hate. Oh, let's give them a go. Let's see what they've got. At the end of the game, they weren't very good. Oh, don't be harsh. They're 19.
But if you go and but if you go and get 2 top midfield players, like we thought Gibbs-White was coming and Polinia, then obviously they're in front of Bergvall. They were in front of Bergvall. And that's, but the player, from what the performances that I saw last season, those 2 players are levels above the players we've got at the moment.
Yeah, but we also had it with Ajayi last year. Everyone kept telling me Ajayi should be starting. And I was like, he's in the Premier League 2. He stats at 18 games, 3 goals. Like, we're not talking about someone who's smashing it up in the youth. Like, but nobody checked any of them because they just see Ajayi play for 20 minutes and he scored a goal and he was unbelievable. And now he's gone on loan to Doncaster. Same thing with Will Lancashire. Everyone kept telling me Will Lancashire should be starting for us. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's not even a championship level striker at this moment. Like, he went to West Brom and weren't playing there.
Luke, have you seen how Ajayi started at Doncaster?
Yeah, but and that's the level that he's playing at. He's not a Premier League player, because if he was, it's the same thing. Josh Keeley's exactly the same. Everyone kept saying Josh Keeley should have been in and around the first team. So why didn't a championship side sign him? Because he's not championship ready yet. He's a League One player. That's where he's gone to. If he'd have gone to a Premier League club or a championship club, then everyone could say, oh, maybe he should have. But he went to a League One club. So we all of our youngsters. I remember Lee Barnard. He was my one. He was going to be unbelievable.
Jamie Slabber.
Yes.
Clark was meant to be the next best thing. I agree with what someone said here, what Adam said here. Savva, you have to blood players. Like, you can't expect them to be complete players straight away. I totally agree. That is why they shouldn't even be in our first team. That is all people are actually trying to say. They are not good enough now. And we are not in a position at the moment where we can slowly bleed the players in there, because we have Champions League games coming up. We have to try and get in that Champions League again. And at times, you just haven't got the time to give them the time they need on the pitch, bar 20 minutes here. The only reason Archie Gray saw games last season was because of injuries. Nothing more, nothing less. Not because he was good enough to get on that pitch and take that place, just because the manager screwed it up so bad that he had no one to put in that place. So he had to turn to him.
League Cup and the UEFA Cup.
This boy.
Europa League.
Have any of you watched this kid play?
Yeah.
Right. Now, when I watch this, I've seen this kid a couple of times in the last year. When I watch him, straight away I go, yeah, you're a player. This kid's going to be a player. This kid's going to be a player. He is.
I had a centre forward last season who was absolutely blinding, who left Arsenal. I'm trying to think of his name.
Obi went to Man United. Janai Byfield knocked him out of the game when they played the North London derby.
I just wonder, guys, when we praise some of these youngsters, I just wonder if they were at other clubs, would we be saying these same things about them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to use the Gray thing because it's been done to death, but I look at some of these and think, if our rivals had signed these players, we'd be laughing at them, and we want them, and that for me is the sad indictment of where we're at.
Absolutely, 100% correct. It's levels, isn't it? This is where we are, and if the club was completely different and it was geared to success, and we had people that took us up there, then we would look at things very, very differently. We'd be getting better players in the transfer market. We'd be buying better kids. You know, the whole thing would be different. It'd all be different. But we get excited.
Kids shouldn't even be playing.
You know,
they should be out on loan and getting significant amount of games out on loan, exactly like Arsenal did with Saliba, got him for 20, 30 mil, and then put him out on loan for 2 seasons and got him back, more established player, ready to play now.
Dan, we've got a fan base is starved of success, and they will latch on to anything, and that's where we are. That's where we are.
And you make that right.
Of course, it's not right. Who bangs on about the ownership for the last 25 years? Of course it's not right.
And who also bangs on about how these 18-year-olds are going to be established and brilliant as soon as they play?
Well, we don't bring in the established 25, 26-year-old players. We don't get them, do we? So
that's the big problem here. The big
So
problem
you
is
accept the
not finding-
18-year-old then and make him established and make him good enough for the first team then?
the whole thing's wrong, Dan. The whole thing.
I agree.
It's all wrong.
When you
It's
when
all
you
wrong.
have young players, you sign experienced players that they learn from. That's the whole idea. This is how these players get better. They learn from experience, and they have to have experienced people around them. That's how people improve. And we don't sign the experience side of things.
Do you remember
I
with I was going to say with Phil Foden, just to back that up, they refused to loan him out because they said, look, where is he going to learn better from than here? Because he's around like David Silva and players like that. But we don't.
That's right, of course.
I don't think just loaning people out is the answer. I think there's a mixture of both. Some are good enough, some are not. But if you've not got experienced pros that they're learning from, then it becomes a problem because they're essentially learning from themselves.
I see that side as well.
In the first place, Luke. Like this
but that's a given, isn't it? That's a given. Like they have to be able to perform at a level.
Is it a given? Because listen, if I do bring it back to Archie Gray, I've not once ever watched Archie Gray in a Spurs shirt and gone, yeah, I see anything in you. Right? So we can talk about he needs to learn from Paulinho. Is this boy even a DM? I've heard now that this boy's a DM, and for 2 years, no one's played him in DM. England under 21s don't play him there. Spurs don't play him there. Leeds didn't play him there. And yet I'm meant to believe from people that he should be the guy that's learning from Paulinho to be a DM. Based on what?
But the boys do it. Sav, the boys who are playing under 21s are 2 and 3 years older than him. They're further on their development.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
No, but that gives you a reason. He's not good enough for the England under 21s because they're older, better players. Yeah. That doesn't make him a bad player. 18.
Or does that just show our youth lot ain't that good? As people think.
I agree with Dan. Like, if he was that generational that everyone keeps saying he is, he wouldn't be kept out by a 21-year-old who plays in the Championship, would he?
I must tell you, Chris, he walked into chaos last season.
Hang on. Yeah, but that doesn't stop him being able. That doesn't change his physique and his ability to control a football and his positioning. And like, listen, this is the problem. You see the problem I think you've given yourself, Lubo, is you've hyped him so much, right? His ability.
He's got potential, sir. He's not there yet.
Hang on. Let me finish. All right. You've hyped him so much, right, that now you have to keep saying these things. Like when I messaged you on Saturday, I thought in the first half against Luton, I thought he was awful. I thought he was terrible in that first half against Luton. You messaged me at half time saying he had a good half. What?
I thought he had a decent half.
But what? But what?
I thought his covering. I mean, Spence was having a mare on the ball, and Gray was having to cover quite a bit. It was right in front of me, so I could see it was literally 10 yards in front of me. He tried to hit some lovely 50-yard passes. On 2 occasions, the strikers were offside, and the third occasion it was overhit.
But have you noticed your go-to for Archie Gray is always these Hollywood parties he makes? I'm talking about him as a footballer. We keep doing this. We keep judging players against metrics that aren't really their metrics. We keep judging, like Sarr is judged. Oh, he gets in the box, scores a few goals. Sure, but what does he do in centre mid? I'm asking you, what I saw the other day in centre mid, Archie Gray, for me, is not strong enough. For a start, he is not strong enough, right? He was getting out-muscled by Luton players, right? I don't think he's composed enough on the ball. I think he wants too much time on the ball. I don't know what he does. I don't know what you've seen that the Spurs managers, right, the England under-21 managers and the Leeds manager didn't see, that none of them played him at DM. What have you seen that makes you think he's a DM?
What I saw against Chelsea.
So one game.
Yep, one game. He was a championship player. Went to Stamford Bridge and bossed that midfield at the age of 17. And I thought, wow, that's one hell of a performance. So you can see there's something there. Now, as far as Saturday was concerned, a few people around me were saying, why isn't Basuma bossing a League One team in midfield? That was more to the point. How disappointing was he?
We're not talking about Basuma. By the way, Basuma in that first half drove the team forward from deep a number of times. He put out a lot of fires. Yeah, his passing's crap. We know it is. But this isn't about Basuma versus Gray. This isn't about that. This is about Archie Gray.
But do you not think he would be better next to a Polina? Next to a Polina?
But the problem is, Lou, but I don't look at him at all and think you should be a Tottenham player. Like, okay. I feel like you run with this opinion off the back of one game against Chelsea. Look how many players have a great cup game against a bigger club. Look how many players have a great game every now and then.
Right.
This boy is raved about by people that can't actually tell me what. I keep hearing that I've seen it. But if your answer is you've seen it 2 years ago in a cup game.
I've also seen him thrown out of position into a back four and done well.
What is his position?
But done well covering in defence isn't, he should be central midfield for Tottenham Hotspur.
No, but covering across the back four shows versatility, shows a good head on young shoulders. Ardiles rates him very highly.
Good luck to him. But right, I'll ask you a question then, yeah? Again, I think people need to get this isn't personal. Some people just look at it different. I'm looking for what we need now. Right, is Archie Gray a Champions League player team? Should he even be on the subs bench for a Champions League team? Realistically.
Probably not.
We could be here all day if we're doing our own.
We are a Champions League team. We are in that Champions League. We need to fight to get in that Champions League again. So really, he shouldn't be in the team full stop. Unless there is a complete turnout where we have no bloody option. There's my point. He needs to go on loan to improve because he's not going to get game time.
It's funny because earlier when we were going through our transfers over the last 10 years, we were talking about how many young players we'd signed who had a good few games or a good season who never went on to anything, right?
Yep.
We're here again. The difference being that we didn't pay 40 million for most of them.
But again, so when people are telling me
that wasn't his fault.
Chris,
but no one's blaming Gray, though, are they? No, we're not blaming Gray.
But no. He's not worth 20 million. He shouldn't have been more than 15, 20 million.
Yeah,
he shouldn't have been any million.
But Brentford set the price. Brentford wanted to pay 40, and to hijack the deal, Spurs had to match it. So the fee wasn't a negotiation. A fee was a hijack.
Can I say something? I'm gonna say something. I've seen more when I watched George Abbott play than when I've watched Archie Gray play.
I thought Abbott was better yesterday than Gray. I thought Abbott was very assured.
So this is right.
Last season, how good Abbott was.
Okay, but this leads into my point. If you've got a George Abbott, how old is Abbott? 18?
No.
19?
19 or 20.
Right. So we've got a George Abbott at the club, right? I don't see any difference between him and Archie Gray. Why did we pay 40 million? I can't make it make sense in my head. You've got George Abbott, you've got people like Luca Williams-Barnett coming through, right? I'm watching these young players and going, I see something in you. I still haven't seen it in Gray.
I must say, Sav, I saw more yesterday from Thompson than I've seen from Tell.
I completely agree with you. Agree with you.
He looked very good, didn't he?
I mean, again, should Odebert be in a Champions League team?
No.
I don't know why they bought him either.
Should Tell be in it? No, he shouldn't, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I think as all a few of us are trying to say is they are not ready now. So put them on loan. Get them some bloody game time. Do what a lot of other teams do. Yeah, all right, you get Man City where they hung on to Foden, but Foden, you could see there was a bloody good player there. And he was better staying there, and he did get some game time, and he was established around quality players. Some players take more time than others to develop. I also get that.
Yeah,
but
sure.
what is going to be better, in your opinion? This is purely opinionated, this one. For me, what is better is game time. Not 20 minutes here, not 10 minutes there, not having a game against Portsmouth or Charlton here or there, but consistent game time, even if it is in the Championship. I mean, what do you actually learn more from doing? Actually doing the job or just reading off the internet?
Be interesting to Abbott's 20 in 3 weeks' time, by the way. It'd be interesting to see after the tour how the team shapes up with Thomas Frank and who he thinks is suit. You know, I'm not talking about the first team because I think most of the first team we could probably pick now, but in terms of the squads and how he's going to use the squads, which 15, 16 players are going to be used quite regularly, because I'm sure he will rotate where he can.
I mean,
I think something that's
Odegaard shouldn't have even been put here. Sorry, look, go on.
No, Odegaard's older, but I think one of the things that's going to go against Gray and Bergvall's probably more involved. But if he stays for that full 3 years, then he becomes club trained as well in Europe.
I think
that. I think that's part of the reason for keeping him. And I'm not saying I agree with that, but this is where we've come as a predicament in terms of getting rid of club trained players and everything else, that we're having to buy players and keep them against their potential development because we want them to be club trained.
By the way, Errol, I'm not judging Gray on one good performance. I'm judging him on what I saw in the back four last season.
Yeah, look, I feel like we're at loggerheads as a football club, and we're going to wrap up the show, by the way, by 11, so in 5 minutes. But I feel we're at loggerheads with what we want. I feel we've got fans that are demanding excellence from the owners, demanding the best, demanding this, and then at the same time we're hyping up people who are just nowhere near good enough for the clubs that buy excellent players. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like we're at a real loggerheads with what we want versus what we demand versus what happens. I get it. The club's messed about for so many years, but listen, I could sit here and say anything about Gray. People will defend it. People will defend it. Odegaard, they'll defend it. Solanke, Richarlison, defend it. Sarr, defend it. Vicario, defend it. They defend every single player, but then want the owners out because we don't sign properly. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, well,
that is exactly what I said earlier, basically.
Which one is it? Which one is it? Are we signing crap players and you don't like the owners, or you want to defend every single one of our players? Call them out. If they're not good enough, it's not personal. Me saying I don't rate Tell, listen, Tell for me looks like he's got a fantastic attitude, right? Looks like a great lad. Fantastic attitude, works hard. I'll give him all of that. It's just when he gets the ball, not one part of me gets excited. You know what I mean? Not one part of me.
Also, your opinion can change and a player can progress. Look at Bergvall when he first came in. He looked dreadful. It took him 6 months. He adapted well, and then all of a sudden he changed. So it's almost like you've got an opinion now on Tell, and you're never allowed to leave that opinion, even if he becomes a good player. It's like all it is we're talking right now. Yeah, and that's what I was saying about Tell. I think Tell is a decent player, but he shouldn't be your starting left winger for a club that's going into the Champions League, and that is the be all and end all. And that's where we need to look at. You need to look at, because it's all right in your mind going, yeah, he's a good player or they're a good player, but the facts are is we need to look at what other players in that position are like. So we said it about Vicario earlier. You need to do that and go through all of these squads and have a look at a Newcastle midfield, say, and go, does our midfield match up to theirs? Because that's the level we want to be at. Newcastle's midfield is so far away from us, it's ridiculous. So even if you're a fan of Bentancur or a fan of this, you need to look at it compared to where you want to be as a club.
Newcastle.
We're so far off on so many of them.
But if you look at Newcastle, Liverpool,
Kamara would walk
City, Arsenal, Luke, Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, their midfields are just miles ahead of everyone else.
Aston Villa, I'd take Kamara would have started for me.
All of Aston Villa centre mids over ours. All of them over ours.
And that's the problem. When we're sitting here
Kamara, McGinn, Tielemans.
Yeah.
How have these people put these squads together?
And this is it. This is what I'm saying. When we sit there going, oh, we should be finishing here, we should be sitting.
So
we've just named how many midfields that are far better than us. And I'm not saying that you could argue, or maybe him and he just gets above. I'm talking like ridiculously a levels above us. And we just done that for a central midfield. Like, that's not including everywhere else.
Because Emery brought in Monchi and Munn brought in Lange. And that shows you the difference in the two.
But hang on. Some of those Aston Villa players have been there before that. If you look, John McGinn was signed years and years and years ago for like £2.5 million. What a great player he's been for Aston Villa.
He was Hibs.
Kamara signed on a free. Right?
Monchi's done a good job, hasn't he?
Tielemans signed on a free. right? So when that midfield free plays, it cost them 2.5 million, right? It cost them 2.5 million pounds, and none of them are world class. None of them were not gettable for Spurs. None of them.
Sure.
All of them were obtainable for Spurs. But I remember saying Tielemans, that's a signing on a free. Guess what they did, Dan? Guess what our fan base did? All in my chat when I was saying I'll take Tielemans on a free. Nah, he's no good. He's not better than.
Look
Honestly,
at the other one we had the debate with everyone about when I turned around and said to you, let's try and get Onana. And literally everyone went off their head.
I think the scary thing for me is the Lyon, where we went there for Ndombele and he had Bruno Guimaraes next to him. Whoever went and watched him week in, week out and surely done some sort of background checks and was like, how is Bruno Guimaraes not?
What about Ashley Phillips and Adam Wharton both playing for Blackburn?
Yeah.
We've spent all that time. We were told we tracked Phillips for over a year. What? And in that time, you've never once watched Adam Wharton in midfield?
They were sad. They were watching him. They were.
Blackburn they might have, but they didn't get him.
Blackburn wouldn't sell him to us, I was told.
Why?
They weren't happy with the way we dealt with the Phillips, with the buyout, so which wasn't our fault at all. Wasn't our fault, but they took their back.
There's always something. Look, the fact is, Palace scouted him, went in and got him. We scouted that club, and our first thought was going to get Ashley Phillips at what, 3 or 4 million quid or whatever it was. Like it's
2 million.
It's madness.
Jack Clark, Eze, like scouting through the Championship, looking at this, we go for Jack Clark. And then kept him on loan at Leeds, and they couldn't even register him. It's just like,
and I agree with what you said, Savva. People complain about that our owners don't put the effort into getting the better players, don't put the effort into going for established players that we want now that can deliver the job now, but then go and justify half the crap or half the non-established players that we do get. It contradicts itself. So what do you want? Do you want the established players, or are you just going to accept what you're given?
Sorry, by the way, Andrew. So I'm not having this. The difference between no. Wharton is levels. Wharton is levels above. Levels above. We wouldn't have had the same problem. Wharton would have gone into that midfield and made the spot his own. Sorry, I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that at all.
No, I've got to agree with you on that. He's different level to Gray at the moment.
Different levels, mate. Listen, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I've got a couple of super chats to do. Big up to Cookie, the Cookmeister. Big up to you, my man. So getting Savva 20k done, well deserved. Thank you. Yes, I have worked pretty hard at it. I know people think I woke up out of bed one day and there were 20,000 subs in my YouTube.
I thought you just bought a channel with 20,000 on, didn't you, Savva?
Yeah, do you know what? Every time I hear about me buying that channel and Lubo and the others, I've heard people saying, "Oh, they bought a 30k channel, a 27k channel, a 25k." It's like this is the problem when people don't actually know the facts. 22.8, we bought it. 22.8.
So what? Anyway?
What makes me laugh about that whole situation is as if like the five of you couldn't get together a channel on zero and get 1,000 subs within, like it's just absolutely craziness. But anyway.
Mate, do you know the funny thing is we've just done over 1,400 subs in a week, right? And we've got people going, they're too scared to start a channel. It's like, oh, shut up! Like, anyway, let's leave that one there. Big up, Mark. Thank you for that. Really, really appreciate you, my man. And big up to George as well. Said thanks for ending the show. I've just got it. Sorry, George. We have done 3 hours, George. Look, you know I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. Tomorrow got my show in the morning. Perchy and I are doing the What Are We Doing Here podcast at 6, and then at 8 p.m. Episode 2 of the Spurs 5. It should be fire tomorrow because there's a lot of very different opinions about Frank's tactics. There's going to be some fire tomorrow night. I can assure you of that. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you to Chris. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to give you my man of the match.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
First time for everything.
My man of the match is Chris.
At least I've now had more good games than Archie Gray has. So
Yeah.
Do you know what, Chris? You're the first referee to get man of the match. How about that?
Thanks, mate.
On my sofa score ratings, you're definitely a solid 8.6 and Lubo's a 5.2. So Chris has smashed that one. Please go and subscribe to Luke at Spotlight on Spurs, who is flying. Luke, the channel's doing well, right?
Yeah, absolutely flying, mate. I'm over 1,000 subs now. I've hopefully hit that partnership today with the Watchtowers. So hopefully I'll have some super chats and memberships coming up shortly.
Is your studio in a sports shop, Luke?
No, that was when I used to buy and sell football boots. So that was what my spare room used to look like before wife and kids. Sore subject.
It's like the old boot.
Yeah.
Looks
No,
like-
Do you know what it's called, mate? Platinum handcuffs. Platinum handcuffs.
I love it if she's watching. I love you. Love you.
Yeah, innit?
So please get over there and subscribe to Luke. He's done really well already. To be honest, I hate helping all these small channels. It goes against everything I stand for. But Luke, I'll make an exception for you. Big up. Please subscribe to Luke on a serious note. Please subscribe to Danny. Thanks, mate, for coming on as always. Please subscribe to Danny at Hotspur Hood. I'm just shocked that his channel name has not been changed to It's a Dog Eat Dog World. I'm shocked.
That's
that
what I
this
should
is
put
not
underneath, innit?
Yeah.
Same Spurs, different day.
Same Spurs. He's got so many. He's got so many catchphrases, this lad.
Hotspur Hood trading as Dog Eat Dog.
Yeah. Hotspur Hood, the artist formerly known as It's a Dog Eat Dog World. Big up Lubo, who is, of course, now part of the Spurs 5, which is our joint channel. Please subscribe to the Spurs 5. You'll get good content. There's definitely no echo chamber in there. So listen, please subscribe to that channel as well. Take care, everyone. Much love. And as always, our Spurs, buy some fucking footballers. Like, I don't know, like, just please buy some footballers, Tottenham. And as always, here we go. Lubo wants to do his scarf thing.
As always, Enoch out.
As always, Enoch out, even though he likes every player that they bought. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs.